Greetings, one and all. Welcome to the Timeless Gamer Show, where our games and our bodies may grow out of date, but our gaming experiences will forever remain timeless. And you can check out our socials: YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. You can also listen to us in Spotify and all of the major audio streaming platforms out there. And this is episode 102 now. Oh my God, 102. Is it 102? Damn.
Yes, 102.
Uh, 102. So previously on the Timeless Gamer Show, um, it was a very cultured conversation in regarding our favorite waifus of video games. So if you are curious on who are our top picks for that particular topic, you know what to do. So for this particular episode tonight, today, or what have you, it's all about the open world video games, and this topic was brought to us by Sir Drew, right there, um, and we've and we get a jam packed panel for you guys tonight. Let's start off with Sir JDM.
Hello, good evening, and welcome back to the Timeless Gamer Show. Juan DeMarcos here of 123 Go, live from Hope County in Montana, the setting of Far Cry 5. And last week we talked about open shirts. Now we will talk about open world games. So, um, strap your gears and let's go on in an adventure.
All right, thank you for that, Sir JDM. And how about the Banyagang native, Sir Joe?
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are. This is the Timeless Gamer Show, and we are going to be discussing open world games, which, as Drew pointed out, used to be called sandbox games. But, he'll get to explaining all of that later on in the show. It's a genre that I've gotten into a little bit more recently, but I was into ever since because of Grand Theft Auto and everything like that. But we'll talk about all of that as we go in the show. Back to you, Joe. Oh, sorry, Joe. It looks like you're still on. It's still on mute. One moment.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And the show captain from previous episode, the waifu episode, Miss Hinu.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast. To those who missed last week's episode, we talked about so many waifus from the past and from the current gaming generation. So if you want to have a look, you know where to go. Hope you
All
enjoyed
right.
tonight's show.
All right, thank you for that, Miss Hinu. And returning back to the show after driving all of his trains, just for the hell of it. He doesn't. To be honest, he doesn't really need the job. He's rich as fuck. Sir Viraj.
These misconceptions about me being rich, you know what I mean? If I was rich, I wouldn't be in this chicken shit outfit doing the show with you guys. Actually, it would mean I'd be doing the show this time because I've got the time in the world to do the show, so maybe you have a point. Anyway, no, it's good to be back, be an interesting show talking about sandbox and open world games because there's so much variety since, as that genre has evolved, and video games have just gotten bigger and bigger with memory. It'd just be interesting to see different people's choices in open world games I want to talk about. So this would be interesting to talk about. So yeah, back to you guys.
All right, thank you for that, Sir Viraj. And of course, the one who is going to lead the show uh, for today's episode, Sir Drew. Say hi.
Yeah, welcome back to the Timeless Gamer Show, everyone. And I'm so thankful to actually be able to host for you guys, well, sub-host. Anyway, we're going to be talking about open world games. So we're going to take you from the island of Tsushima. We're going to go to the lands between. We even might go into Bulwark Academy and some other locations where we would be trapped in an open world setting. And wherever we may take you for this journey for tonight, I hope that you guys would share this journey with us and open your horizons to the genre of open world. Back to you, Sir Joe.
All right. Thank you for that, Sir Drew. So, before we head out to the show proper, let's talk about gaming news.
All
What's the
right.
gaming news for this week, guys?
Well, the gaming news for this week is the physical release of on the Nintendo Switch of the Nintendo World Championships. It is, I guess, a little tribute to the original cartridge of the Nintendo World Championships, and of course, that cartridge was featured in the Nintendo World Championships of 1990 here in the United States. Like Drew said, it was basically our Olympics from way back when we were kids. We would see all of these games being played, all speed ran, and there was a championship where it was a tour of all these different cities, mostly in the West Coast here in the United States, and they were playing and beating each other in these special video games that were featured on the NES/Famicom. Now they just came out with the physical release is as a tribute to that event from way back when. Drew, Viraj, show us your copies and explain a little bit more as to what this release is.
Show and tell time.
Mhm. All right. So I'll go first. I've got the inferior copy because Drew's got the master copy, right? But this is the PAL version. It's like obviously the American version is more or less the same, except it's got the ERSB rating on there. So as you can see, it's right here. Let me move my finger. So Nintendo World Championship NES edition. Deluxe set. This is the deluxe set. Obviously, you can get it just as the normal the game on its own. It's a lot cheaper if you do it that way. You can buy it on digital, but I like to get the sort of deluxe sets because they have a lot more value to them. They're much more collectible viable, shall we say. Inside the box, I don't know if you can see that in there. I'll read it to you because it's too small. But you get the game card, you get a replica game pack, golden. You get like the golden cartridge. So you got that, and that's tiny. You can't see. You got like a little pin badge collection. So 5 little pin badges, sort of like Link holding up his Triforce saying Nintendo World Championship, and you got a Mario one. You got different like Donkey Kong doing his bit, but yeah, that, and you also got some 13 art cards on there. So it's a nice little finish for those Nintendo fans out there that have that nostalgia, because as it was mentioned earlier, this is something that's very close to a lot of people's childhood hearts and memories back. I'd say more in North America and that part of the world. In Europe, maybe not so much, but a lot of people on the European continent here, they like to jump on the American bandwagon and they'll go for this. I mean, do I have any love for this game? No, I'm going to probably resell it for more money because I'm that kind of evil, because I have no interest in this game whatsoever, to be honest. I mean, I can see the merit that someone will have for it, and someone's going to own this, and value this, and it has its precious value in a lot of people's hearts. But yeah, this is a solid game. But the Japanese, going to Mr. Drew up there, they got something even more special than we got in America and the United States. Sorry, United States and Europe, United Kingdom. He's got something much better. Let's go over to his little version that he's got something that I'd love to have. But there we go.
Anyway, before I actually get started with the contents, just huge shout out to Sir Koji down in the comment section. Thank you so much for always being where I am at and always supporting me. Anyway, and also you shout out to the other commenters, Sir Ray Q, down there in on the comment section. Anyway, getting back into this particular version. So this is the Japanese version. Here's a quick peek at some of the art here. So there you go. Beautiful artwork. A little bit much thinner than what Biraj has, and some differences on it. So here's the game, and besides the game, there is the postcards for the original artworks of the different games that are contained here. So there's artwork for Ice Climber, Metroid, and at the back side of the postcards, there is the start screen of each and every game on there. So really cool postcards on here. Anyway, moving along, and this is the reason why Biraj said this is the superior version. And that's because of this controllers, the Famicom controller. So for everybody who grew up playing with the Famicom version, just look at this.
Awesome.
That's so sexy, and you could put it into your Switch to charge it, but it's not used that way. You're only gonna place it to charge
Yeah.
it because I made the huge mistake of trying to use it in handheld mode with this controllers, and in one of my videos, and it was a laugh riot. And anyway, the pins before we move into the significance of this. So there's the
Yeah.
pins, huge awesome
Yours are
pins.
in, yours
Uh,
are in
by the
Japanese.
way, Biraj, I just wanted to ask a quick question. Does the Peggy version also have the Japanese games on there? No.
Right.
Have you tested it?
The Peggy, well, the Western release. These are the Western games. So there would probably be the anglicized names of the games. So you got Mario Brothers, Zelda, Metroid, Donkey Kong, Kid Icarus, Mario Brothers 2 USA. Obviously, Mario Brothers 2 was known as Lost Levels in here as well, but you also got Lost Levels here as well. Excite Bike, Ice Climber. I think that's Balloon Flight, Mario Brothers 3, Link 2, so Adventure of Link. Zelda 2, Adventure of Link, and Kirby's Adventure. So they're the 13 games that you got there. I've noticed that your arts are the Japanese arts, or that makes sense. It's Japanese game art, little postcards, and we've got the art cards are Western here.
Yeah.
And the pins are in Japanese. Ours are in English. So that's the real difference. And we obviously got the golden reproduction. That's probably why ours is a bit bigger. We've got a golden. There's background is not going to let me do it. I'll do it there, and I'll probably stand here. No, it's not going to let me do it. But that's about as close as we're going to get to me. Let's move my fingers away.
It's not gonna unbox.
I'm not going to unbox it because it's sealed. All right, it loses value straight away. I'm not going to show it to you.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
But
Anyway, by the way, I tested this
Okay.
and it has both the US version and the Japanese version of the games. But when you play the Japanese version, it's gonna be on Japanese. And one thing that's different about this, and it's just a nostalgic piece because the original World Championships only featured three games. That's Super Mario, Rad Racer, and Tetris. They are, I think, Super Mario and Tetris is included. I didn't see Rad Racer. I'm not sure, but you could do a quick Google search on that. So, as Sir Joel said, this was the reason why this is our news because back in the day when we were kids, there were no esports. This was the only thing televised gaming related wise, and for us to be able to see that gaming is part of the news is such a huge deal for us. So for all of those curious, do check this one out. Anyway, that's it for show and tell from me and Sir Biraj. We're gonna go and do the rest of the show and tell with the rest of the panelists. Sir Joel, what about for you? What's your show and tell?
By the way, while everyone is thinking, you
Yeah.
know who's not, who's not gonna buy that thing?
Go ahead, Sir JDM.
The guy who already have the original that gold cartridge was Pat
Yeah.
NES country, right? He has the like allegedly the gold
Pat,
cartridge.
the
yeah,
NES
yeah.
punk.
Yes.
Yeah, that's like the holy grail for NES collectors. Or I don't know if there's a Famicom version of that one. I'm not sure.
There's a show
All right.
on
For sorry. Go ahead, Raj.
So there's a show on Netflix where there was a gentleman, I can't remember the name of the show, I think it was called Gold something. And it was the first episode of that second season. And there's these guys who basically it's a bunch of pawn shop owners. Well, not pawn shop, but guys who go to sell collectibles, auction collectibles. And they went to his house. He's got a lovely, huge collection of video games. Like I've never seen anything quite like it. And he's got this hidden room in his bedroom, and that's where all his collectibles are. And he's got this. I think it's like the golden one of these like 5-screw NES cartridge games or whatever. And it might have been the Nintendo World Championships because there's only so many of them that went out. And it was over $1 million or something, $1 million, $1.5 million. And they were trying to entice him to sell it because obviously they'll get commission for selling it as an auctioneer's fees. And the guy's dream was to open his own gaming shop or his own gaming market or something. And he goes, well, we'll offer you this much money, $1 million, whatever, if you sell it. And that's it. And in the end, he went to the thing and he went to sell it, and that was great. But there are a lot of collectible games out there, and the fact that they're in the millions of dollars is outstanding. It's marvelous, to be honest. And I kind of wish my father, when he worked in selling games, he bought a few of these and kept them sealed. We could have had a bit of a fortune. But anyway, we have what we have. I mean, I know I can see from like everyone says that I'm rich because I do this, but look at Bernard Drew. Look at the back of him. That's like you could sell that and buy a new house with all that money. You know what I mean? Like you've got some serious cash there. I'm looking at. Now, video gaming collecting is a serious business. You know, there's a lot of money that's in these video games. You know, you get a nice collection. One of those games could be worth a king's ransom. You never know. You never know. Anyway, you don't want your wife finding out. That's what it is, isn't it? Not loud enough. Your wife would be like, quiet. My wife will sell one of these video games.
Ask me for a second house, man. What the?
Nice big house with a swimming pool. You know what I mean? Your wife deserves it, man.
Don't give her ideas, man.
All right, so that is the Nintendo World Championships release for this week. Does anybody else have any show and tells that you guys want that anybody acquired this week?
We only have time for one game.
Yeah, just one game.
Lucy says hi.
400.
Miss Hinu, you might have something. Digital acquisitions also count. Okay.
Lucy says hi first.
All right. Hello,
Hi, Lucy.
Hello, Lucy. It's
Okay,
nice.
bye, Lucy.
Okay.
I got this for my birthday. It's the manga of Elden Ring.
Nice.
I've been avoiding it for 2 years, but then I just whatever. It's
Crumbled.
It's something that's unique, and I don't think it's gonna compared to the other long-running mangas. I don't think it's gonna reach 100 volumes. And what's nice about this is that it's more of like a gag manga. It's more of a satirical take to the tarnished adventure in the lands between. So I'm looking forward to crack these open. And I was actually lucky enough because right now the volume 1 is really hard to look for since it's been a year or so. So I just recently got this morning. So now I have all 3. So if anyone wants more Elden Ring stuff, you can go check out the manga. Not sponsored. Oh, I wish. Thank you, guys.
And belated happy birthday.
Belated happy birthday.
Thank you.
Although we were there when midnight struck for us to celebrate your birthday.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool.
Waifu episode.
Yeah. Too bad it won't be One Piece levels of length in terms of manga, but we take what we can get. All right. Anybody else? Digital, physical acquisitions? Just one for this week. No. All right. Fine.
I could show you my Atari 400 Mini I picked up, but I think
might as well. Just a very quick one. While I unbox this one that I mistakenly thought was Jaws. Okay, there you go. For those for those in the audio, I will try to describe what I see as I open it up. It's an Amazon box. I am using my usual knife to open it up. And let's see what we got. There are times when you buy something and you completely forget that it's something that you bought. But this one was a purchase because of what they call Black Friday in July here on Woot.com, which is an Amazon company. And they started selling some stuff that I was having a look at for a little while. First thing is Construction Simulator Gold Edition for PS5, just very quickly. I am into Sims, simulation games. Something for Raymond, who sadly cannot be here. Let's Sing 2024 for Xbox. It includes the 2 microphones that you can plug into the console so that you guys can do karaoke. You know how we Asians are with karaoke and everything.
That is so Pinoy.
Yes. Wolong, Fallen Dynasty, which is a kickoff on the Three Kingdoms saga, but in a horror fashion. And last one is one influenced by Joe from last week because he showed his, and I decided to get mine anyway. Unicorn Overlord.
Ooh, nice.
Monarch Edition.
Nice.
So,
Yes.
this one has the sound. This one has the soundtrack, the art cards, I think, and the game itself. So
The board game. The board game.
The
As
board game is there a board game? I didn't even know
yes,
there was a board
there is.
game
It
for
it
Overlord.
it
There's a
has
board
a
game.
board game.
Oh dang!
That
I'm gonna
that's
have to
why
check
a
that
lot of people from the Asia release, the ones who got the Asia release, were mad because the board game for the Asia release was in Japanese.
Oh,
What's the
very
point of
cool.
getting a board game if you
You can't
can't play it,
understand
you
it.
can't read shit? Yep.
Mhm.
Buggers.
All
Aside
right,
comment.
and to top it off, Viraj, show us your Atari 400, right?
So this came out back in January, so February. This is made by Retro Games, who made the Commodore 64 Mini and the Amiga 500 Mini. And this is the Atari 400, which is a microcomputer games console variant of the Atari 2600. It's a mini console. It has 25 preloaded games on it. A few of the games on there are Berserk, Asteroids, and Missile Command. And there's a few others as well, which I forget, unfortunately. What makes it really interesting, what I found fascinating, is the first ever mini console released with 4 controller jacks, you know, 4 controller sockets. So you can actually have 4 player simultaneous without getting, an adapter or anything. That's pretty cool. On the back, you've obviously got the HDMI out and you've got a USB. And what I love about retro games and their mini consoles is you can actually add more games on it. They leave it open so you can actually put more Amiga 400 games on there. It's also compatible with the Amiga Atari 800 games on there, the Atari XC, XL, Atari 5600. They'll also work on this thing as well. So you've got the Atari 8-bit library on those systems. They can put it to USB and play once you've done a firmware update and put the relevant software on there. They actually write in brackets, make sure you obtain the software legitimately. But yeah, you have you have the ability to get them. So a lovely little shell,
Okay.
a lovely little thing. Nothing. The only button on there really is the on and off switch. There's no other buttons. This membrane is just there purely for a all the light that turns on. And the controller is what really makes it interesting. This is the CX40 Atari stick that we all remember for the Atari 2600. A lovely little stick. Got the action bar. But what I find really fascinating, this is what really excited me about this stick, is for many years, At Games have created like their own version of the Atari 2600 and their mini console variants, the flashback at 8, 9, and 10, and so on. But this thing has a USB, so you can actually connect it to your computer and play Atari games. This is the first version of this controller, which is actually PC compatible. And this is what makes it really special. It's not just that you have hidden buttons. So the top button, that's a button. This is a button. There's a button here, a button here. You have 2 buttons here, right? A start and select button. And you've got the pause button here. So you've actually got a fully functional pad which has a lot of buttons. So it has a lot of applications, which is really nice. They've actually made a good controller on it. And that's a huge improvement from the 64, which had a terrible stick. So, I've been playing this for a bit. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, it's not as exciting as what we're going to be talking about next. But for us who are into retro gaming and minis, it's really good because I got it on sale for less than £60 and it was released for £100 back in February. So they've lowered it to £40, which is 40% off pretty much, and it made it worth it. So definitely a mini worth getting for that. Even if you're not going to play it and you're like me who likes to just keep it on display, it's a lovely display piece. So that's why I got it, and it's functional as well. If you want to, what I love about minis is it allows you to have a taste of that system and how it operated and how those games would run on it as authentically as possible without paying a king's ransom for the original hardware. That'll work via HDMI into your TV. But anyway, going forward, let's continue with the subject at hand because I think we're pretty much done with our show and tell segment. Let's go back to you, Sir Drew, or whoever's going to start with our first game. If we're talking open world games, who's going to do
Well,
it? Who's going to
Actually, before we do go into the show proper, I would just like to have each of the panelists share in on the definition of what actually makes an open world game an open world game. So, before, as said by Sir Joel, it used to be called a sandbox. So, the reason why it's called a sandbox because you are trapped in this particular map where you could travel to and fro from anywhere, but you are just doing the whole game proper on that said space. So hence the word sandbox, wherein as time progresses on, it has actually been referred to now as an open world game. Rarely I have not heard the term sandbox for quite a while for any developer to actually define their game or something, it has always been open world, because open world makes you want to explore more as a definition, wherein sandbox would actually make you think that the world is small because you are trapped in a sandbox. Anyway, that's my opinion on the terminology. But as for definitions of open
Mm,
world game, is being able to do in the game in a non-linear fashion, and being able to optionally choose whatever side missions you can do or not do to be able to proceed the game's story or the navigation of the world you are in. So that's my definition for the open world genre. You may disagree or agree with me, but this is personally my opinion. Anyway, guys, would any of you guys want to chip in on the definition of our open world game, Sir Joel?
Oh no, I completely agree with your definition of open world. The thing about it is, I have a personal theory as to why they moved away from the word sandbox, sandbox gaming. It's because a lot of us when we were kids have had really bad experiences with sandboxes here.
Mm,
Uh, you would go into sandbox, you'd play, you'd have a lot of fun, and then you'd dig around and you find yourself some cat turds that you have to, that you have to avoid. So because cats are notorious for looking for sandboxes and doing their business there. So I don't know. Then personally speaking, maybe the negative connotation in my head has kind of soured me on the term sandbox game. So
yeah.
people started referring to them as open world games now. But that's just my personal conspiracy theory. So back to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that light-hearted comment and definition on on why they changed it from the sandbox.
I,
And speaking of
Raj,
cats, yeah,
Raj might have
Viraj.
something to say.
I think in terms of sandbox, you're saying in the early days, you're saying that there are limitations. It's like you said, Sir Drew. You have your limitations with the sandbox,
Yeah,
don't you? Whereas open
yeah.
world, in the name itself, there are no limits, and you have the ability to pick and choose where it is you want to go, and that's what we're talking about. I think my first experience with a sandbox game was on the Sega Mega Drive, and the game was called Desert Strike, where you played as a pilot and you're in the Gulf War, and you have
Is that
missions.
the
But you've got
helicopter one?
the helicopter one, yeah, and
Okay,
you have
okay, I know that one.
missions which you have to complete in linear order. So there's the linear aspect of it, but there are side missions where you can pick up all the people missing in actions, and you can destroy all these enemy structures and get extra points. So you do have the side missions, but I think some sandbox games did have a linear structure to it. Whereas when we evolved to open world, we have more options, more limits. We don't have a sequential order in how we can do things, although there is a sequential order, obviously, but not necessarily to the rule of law. It's not like you have to do this, you have to then do that, and then you have to do that. Whereas with open world, let's talk about Breath of the Wild. That's a classic example of a game you can complete in a very short time. Because if you just follow normal adventure, you're done. But if you go via doing all these little side quests, that's really fully completing it. So you have options. It's not about being you have to do this and this and do this. That's what sandbox is. It's this and. Whereas with open world, it's this or this or this or. So it's about having options, and I think that's the real difference between open world. Obviously, as games have evolved into the 3D realm and they've gotten bigger and bigger with memory, you have much less limitations on calling. You can't really call it a sandbox. You actually do have a world. You have built a world. That's how big games have gotten. So open world just makes sense, and obviously we'll delve into that when we can come to talk about our games in question and how big they are and what details you have in there. That's my view anyway.
Thank
I
you
would
so
also
much
like
for
to
that.
add in something.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go ahead, Miss Inu. And I'm actually
I,
gonna
I,
point at you because of as we were speaking about cats, and you're the one with the most experience with cats. So I was gonna point at you before Biraj. Anyway, go ahead, Miss Inu, and I'm sorry for cutting you off.
the cats are a nightmare when they don't pee or poo in their designated litter boxes. So that's that. Going back to the talk about open world and sandboxes, we still use the term sandbox games right now, but it's more related to the games that let you build and craft within the space or
Mm,
the confines of the world. And I guess the best example would be Minecraft.
yeah.
You could also say Roblox because
Mm.
there's this what robust means for the players to create their own worlds, like the buildings, etc., and whatnot. And whereas for the open world, everything is already set in stone. The developers wanted this place to look like this and that and this and that. So I think the sandbox games has more freedom in terms of design as well as creation for the players. Back to you, Drew.
So what you're saying,
Okay.
Miss Hino, is that sandbox games are more geared. The term sandbox games nowadays are geared towards games where you build in an open area, as
Yeah,
opposed
because
to
what do you
open
do in a
world games
sandbox?
where
You
you
can
go
you make
explore.
little sand
Ah, yeah,
castles,
that makes
forts, and
total sense.
moats. So
Acceptable.
It's more
Okay, that makes sense.
simulation,
Yeah,
isn't it? More
That makes
simulation.
total sense.
that
So,
makes sense.
Mm.
so that would be Minecraft, Dragon Quest Builders, and Terraria. The
mm,
lot those games would all fit
yes,
the sandbox genre, or so that would actually differentiate open world and sandbox. Actually, with Miss Hinu's explanation, that actually explains a whole lot
Mm.
between the definition, if we are gonna actually define what's sandbox and what's open world. Anyway, Sir JDM, what are your thoughts about the definition of an open world game?
For me, open world, as everyone already agreed, you can do anything you want in a large space. Compared to a sandbox, you're just confined in this uh, tight space. Like what Piscina said, you can create things, which you can also do in open world games, like starting from Park Fallout 4, where you can build your own settlement.
Yeah.
You can add some houses, water system, and some other things. Um, so yeah, my first encounter with a sandbox game, uh, that would be Grand Theft Auto or the MS DOS or the PS1, because um it's open world, but you need to go to the menu and select the place that you would like to go, like Vice City, San Andreas, and Liberty City. Those were the classic GTA places that you can go, but you can't go to another, like if you have selected Vice City, you can't go to San Andreas or to Liberty City, because you can only play within Vice City. There's no connecting bridges. There's no like boats or planes that you can ride. You can only go to that place that you have selected. If you would like to go to San Andreas or Liberty City, you need to reset the game or just quit the game, then select the other places.
So there's a sort of disconnect on its
Yes.
open worldedness. So not totally open world because there's like a menu that you have to go through.
Yeah.
And thanks for that, Sir JDM. And actually, I think for most people, Grand Theft the series, no matter which game it is, it's most probably most people's first encounter with the open world genre. I believe because since uh in the PlayStation 2 era, that's whether on PC or on console, that's the game that everybody was playing during that era. Anyway, Sir Joe RPG, what are your thoughts on our topic for this evening?
Open world, to my understanding, as the song goes, ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough,
Woo!
right? And as a RPG player, okay, gone were the days where when your character will be will be halted by the game, trying to trying to stop you from advancing to go to somewhere. Oh shit! There's a fence right here. Oh shoot! Hopefully, unfortunately, I cannot jump over it. I cannot go around it. Oh, it's just stopping me right there. Oh shit! There's a tree stump right there. Oh, can I jump that? No. Can I move around it? No. Hopefully, there's something that I can use sometime in mid game that I can use to get rid of that stump. So I can get rid of that fence. So I can move. So I can get over to the next place. Nope. Right. Gone were the days where you can where the game stops you right there because there's a wide water, a huge body of water stopping you, like maybe a river or a sea or a lake, whatever, just to get across. Oh no, you need a boat. Oh oh, you need to go. Oh, you need to go to you need to go to the mountains. Oh shit, I wonder how can you go there? I don't know. Can you climb it? Oh shit, no, too much of a hassle. How about getting an airship? You know what?
Yeah.
So yeah. So basically, open world to me basically means you can just go wherever you wish, do whatever the fuck you want. Okay. I mean, oh shit, you got the main mission? Yeah, fuck that. I'll just do a bunch of side quests.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
main
I
mission
think,
can wait.
to touch on it, I think it's more simulation elements with the whole sandbox thing, isn't it? I mean, there was this software I downloaded years ago called Universe Sandbox, and basically it was you've got the planet Earth, and then you can have like, what if the Earth had more than one moon, and you see how the Earth would react to that, or say if you could make the sun a little bigger, how would the Earth react to that? And it's called Universe Sandbox. So you got you can play all these tricks. So I think the most apt answer is actually what Miss Hunu said earlier. You know what Miss Francine said. It's basically the best way to say it is basically it's more of a simulation tool that you can have fun with it. Whereas an open world, you have much more of an adventure aspect of it, a lot more of an exploration element to it. I think that's the real key difference. So I think Miss Hunu was absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it for the definition. I think so. So thank you so much, Sir Joe, and for Sir Biraj extra comments on that. So basically, what Sir Joe was trying to say was whatever the limitations that we encountered on the earlier iterations of video games, wherein something as basic as a very low wall blocking us is no longer a hindrance because of the concept of open world games opening up the possibilities that the things that we can do in video games. And this is actually coupled in with the technology that we have now, and thanks so much for the advancement of technology that we are not only able to see more beautiful games on our screen, but we are also able to interact more in a sense that the logic is more used now, because you could hop over the fence, you could go and do something with that particular hindrance, that a certain plot point or a certain restriction from the coding or something was preventing them to allow you to be able to go there. And there are more possibilities. Anyway, thank you so much to our panel for their inputs on our topic for this evening. So we are now gonna proceed into our show propers, wherein we're gonna be sharing the games that we have picked for our topic of today, which is the open world genre. So I would like the previous episodes captain to please share her game, which I do know means so much to her. And if you are one of our audio listeners to this particular episode, Miss Hinu has the map of the lands between at the back of her
Wow.
background right now, which is a huge map. And they actually thought it's a rug, but that's the lands between. And let's have her moment because she loves this game so much. Miss Hinu, take it away.
Hmm.
Thank you for that intro, Drew. Let me preface things with I am not a Souls player. The primary reason why I played Elden Ring is because I heard that George R. R. Martin, the writer for A Song of Ice and Fire slash Game of Thrones, helped from software and in writing the lore and the mythos of the world of the lands between. So of course I was scared, very scared. I only play old school RPGs and visual novels, and none of them require, the skills, the patience, the dexterity and whatnot, the reflexes to play a Souls game, a game that a genre that has been known as one of like the most difficult or most challenging for players in the recent years. So heck, I just jumped right in because I said I want to see how this looks like. If George R. R. Martin is here, I'm gonna have a look at it because I also read his other works aside from A Song of Ice and Fire. So when I first booted the game, I will agree with the most common reaction. It's like I was in awe. You're gonna come from a catacombs at the start of the game, so everything's cramped, everything's dark. But then, when you get out of that area, suddenly the world opens up. You can see nothing but lush greenery. You can see a bunch of like ruins in the distance. And what's most majestic about the view is that you're gonna see this golden tree lingering, towering over the landscape. So that sets you up to this feeling of, oh my gosh, how big is this world gonna be? So part of the reason why I continued playing this game, Elden Ring, despite the fact that I get so anxious, I get so scared, I get so nervous when fighting bosses, is because the joy of discovery. We do know that some of the open world games of recent years are, how do you say this? Formulaic, too formulaic. Um, it it these games tend to what do you call that? Hold the hands of the player. Go here. Here's your next target. Here is the main quest. Here is the side quest. And at times there's a lot of like visual clutter or noise that distracts the player, and I think it's kind of an eyesore as well. Instead of you taking in the world, experiencing it, going through it, meeting the people, seeing the animals and the plants and whatever, uh, you're gonna see some arrows, some names and whatnot and whatever. So I think that's an eyesore. It's very distracting. So what I like about Elden Ring is that there's no such thing as those visual clutter, be it the UI, be it some markers and whatnot. And the joy of playing this game is that, for example, I'm standing over a cliff here and I'm gonna see another ledge there, but there's a ravine in between us. And I said, I wonder if that's a place I can go to at a later part. And then it turns out to be true. I go to the rest of the dungeon. I climb some stairs, go down some ladders, and then I find myself at the other side of said ravine. So technically, 99% of what you see in that game is accessible. And as Joe said earlier, ain't no mountain high enough. It's like Skyrim. Just hop on your horse, climb a mountain and whatnot, jump over whatever. You can go almost everywhere except the water. They haven't really thought about the
Yeah.
the swimming pool.
Yeah.
It's gonna expand the world more. But yeah, I think a special thing about Elden Ring is it brought players back to simpler times, wherein everyone can play the game and no experience is gonna be the same as the others. Since this game is so open, you can just bypass the first boss, the second boss, and end up at the third boss without even knowing that you skipped two bosses. So everyone can have a different experience in exploring this beautiful world. And I think um, a sad thing about current gen games is that they focus too much on graphical fidelity. Is the graphics? Is this crate realistic enough? Are the books weathered enough? Is the skybox convincing enough? It's like um instead of like focusing on what's more important, such as the gameplay, a lot of open world games tend to, just focus on the graphics. And what I loved about Elden Ring is that it's not the best graphics in any game, but yet when you see its different locations, the vistas, the landscapes, the kingdoms that were once powerful but are now abandoned, it still gives you this sense of adventure. It gives you an emotion, and it's so stylistic. It's so carefully crafted that you're not gonna care that this is not the most uh, graphically advanced game there is out there. I think to me, stylization of a game is more important than how realistic the graphics could look like. So, the game is huge. I played it more than a year. I had like 200, 300 hours. I didn't get all of the character side quests, but I went to every nook and cranny of the damn thing. I went everywhere. I had a guide with me. Others tend to, not really like the guides, but me, I had a guide. I had a checklist. I think the others who are following me on Instagram and Facebook are gonna say, I have this checklist. Okay, I've been here to this cave. I've been here to this catacomb. But I wanted to explore the world on my first playthrough. I'm not someone who plays the game multiple times. So if I was gonna play this game, I'm gonna go everywhere. I may be scared, but I'm gonna go adventuring scared. So, um, to anyone who is kind of on the fence, uh, Elden Ring, it's best to give it a try. I have some friends who are hesitant. Shout out to Ubas Juice. He was hesitant at first to play this game due to it's a Souls game. It's notorious for being very, very difficult. But at least he gave it a try, and he saw what the appeal was. Beautiful world, unforgiving enemies, very charming characters, but most of them are tragic. You can really feel for them, and it's just. I think this would apply to a lot of Souls games. You're gonna get so hooked, so absorbed into the world of, be it Bloodborne, Dark Souls, and whatnot. Are gonna be so charmed to the characters that every adventure is, it feels really special. And for me, that was my experience with Elden Ring. This is a fairly new game. A lot of my favorite games of all time are from my childhood. But this one, no matter how recent this is, was shockingly, it became one of my top 10 favorite games of all time. And I went crazy with this. I went ham. I bought the guidebooks. I bought the manga, what I showed earlier. I had the art book and whatnot. So it's such a fun experience. I may be late when I finish the game, but when I talk to my buddies on chat, I was like, when sometimes I'm stuck, they're still eager to help me. And then they said, "Oh, this is what I did for that part. That's what I did for that part." And then sometimes when I'm stuck again, I'll look into the YouTube and whatnot, some forums, and I'm gonna see how other people tackle this game. It's a single player game, but it still lets you feel that you're playing with everyone else in the world. Yes, there is multiplayer, but not for all areas, I believe. But still, this is one of the games that brought everyone back together, just like the good old times. The couch co-op feeling, the game sessions like, hey, I'm done with that level. How about you? So such a good game. It's insane that From Software has released Elden Ring, and it was almost perfect on launch. No big um, game crashes that are bug that can cause like the game to crash. It was it was worth it. The wait was worth it, and I'm really really glad. I'm happy that I gave this game a try. I don't know if I'll play the other Souls games. They're too dark. They're too dark for me. This one lets you play like outdoors. The others feel too cramped and scary for me. And at least in Elden Ring, you have a mount. So to those who are kind of scared, this has a lot of breathing space since you go outdoors. You have a mount. You meet some of the locale of the lands between, and you get to have a once in a lifetime adventure. This game didn't win Game of the Year if it wasn't something special. So I think I'll stop at that, and I'll go back to our pilot of today's episode. Go ahead, Drew.
I was actually really, really trying not to talk while you were talking because, as I have, as you know, I also love the game. I love the game so much that my feed was all about Elden Ring during I think a month ago maybe or so. And well, I'm talking about my personal feed. I didn't really post this on my pages, but anyway, I'm trying to keep audience Jenna try to keep this as short as possible because there is actually so much to talk about. Elden Ring is such a refreshing game actually, and the only reason that most people are not trying this game is because the certain part of the community of the PromSoft community are gatekeeping this game so much, and they are trying their best to ruin the experience for everyone that they come across playing this game, that it's actually deterring other people from trying the game. But I'm not as a hardcore I'm not a gamer who's really good. I don't have flexible hands. I'm not that patient when it comes to certain games, certain structures. But this game made me go through the entire, well, not the entirety of the game. You could not get in one sitting the entirety of the game. This game is so huge. There's so many possibilities. And if there's an definition of an open world game, there would be only two games. It's this game and Breath of the Wild. Those are the two games that would define open world games because there's so much freedom for you to be able to tackle the game. But anyway, for
Oh,
those of you
sorry.
who
One
are
more.
oh,
Sorry for cutting you off. To From Software's credit, Elden Ring made non-Souls players just like me play this game and still have fun with it, even though we know that it's a Souls game, even though that we know that it's gonna be punishing, it's gonna be hard, we need to get good, or else we'll stay maidenless. a lot of people got into Souls thanks to this behemoth of a game. Go on, Drew.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, to keep what I was about to say shorter than short, me and my son actually played this simultaneously. He was playing in the PlayStation 4. I was playing in the PlayStation 5. The only difference is they look entirely very different from the two consoles. Actually, it's much more brighter. Of course, the loading time because of the SSD. We both huge generational gap. We both enjoyed this game simultaneously, even though we did not play this the same way. We did not do the same builds. We did not go through the same thing, but we ended up enjoying the game so much that we were talking about it. Where are you? Where so much comparison because so much difference on the way you would be playing this because not everything works for you. To summarize the game, it's like a Mega Man game in an open world set in medieval times. That's the shortest definition of the game. Anyway, game of the year for that year, really awesome
2022.
game. It's accessible. And any other thoughts? Sorry if I took a lot of time because I also love the game. Anyway, Sir Biraj, Sir JDM, Sir Joe, Sir Joel, any thoughts about Miss Hinu Speak?
I think there's two things that I mean, I agree with everything with what Miss Who said in her presentation on this game. There's only two things I disagree with. Little nitpicks, but you're thinking, Viraj, you're being pedantic. But I would say this game isn't for anyone and everyone. Obviously, it's got a mature rating. and
Yeah, good
the
point.
creature design is the stuff of nightmares. We saw the monsters in this, and they are horrific. And definitely not for young children for sure, but that's just me being picky. Obviously, we're obviously in this channel is for more of a mature audience anyway. And I'm sure that's what Miss Hunu meant. The other thing that I disagree with is when she made her point about graphics. And I agree with her in terms of, yes, there is a lot of emphasis on graphics on video games today. However, this game is a graphical masterpiece in terms of its art design and the way. So the graphics are actually outstanding, and I think they have done an impeccable job in terms of art design, graphics, the way the gameplay looks like it's playing. And I do think that you can have a great game that does have great graphics as well, that can do both. And I think this game is a clear example of something executed in that manner, and it deserved. I don't have a PlayStation 5, but if I was going to buy one, I'd definitely have this game in my library. That's for sure. It'd be a sin not to. So Dan, who sadly can't be with us, he mentioned to me, and we were talking in our little Sega group that I'm in, that Dark Souls is basically the ghouls and ghosts of the modern age, and that's actually very high praise coming for him. I think it was him. So if you're listening to Dan, I'm sorry if I've misquoted you, but he, and that quote made sense. It's something that's always stuck with me because Ghouls and Ghosts is also, as we all know, for those who have played it, an unforgiving game by Capcom. And this is obviously in the same vein. It can be unforgiving, and that in itself has its appeal to me because I'm a gamer who does have the patience for a challenge, and it's something that I would like to explore in due course. So this is definitely a game that's on my radar for sure. Props to you when it comes to mentioning clearly a AAA title that is graphically beautiful, artistically beautiful, it plays beautifully, and it definitely looks like it's a game that isn't bogged down with over-the-top cinematics, and that's what a lot of modern gamers have this day and age, where it's like more movie than video game. Definitely something that I think a lot of people a lot of people mature age would want to play and be into. My final thoughts on this particular game is that what was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought now. Oh, I've totally forgotten now. No, never mind. But it's something that I'd definitely be eager to give a go, and would recommend others to play. I don't have a PS5 like I mentioned earlier. But yeah, back to you, Sir Drew.
Okay, and I would actually really recommend if you have PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X, do play it on there, or if you have a high-end gaming PC, because the PlayStation 4 version is not that great looking. I think that's the only reason why.
Yeah, I've got 4K OLED 65-inch TV. It would look wonderful on a PS5, obviously, and I
played it on the PS4. Maybe that's why I said my comment about its graphics. I didn't know. I didn't have a PS5 back then.
Yeah,
Okay, edition.
that's something I actually forgot because me and my son played it simultaneously, and when he goes to my room, he says, "Why the hell does it look different?" It was like what?
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's also, let's not forget, it's the televisions you have as well. If you've got a 4K OLED TV, video games look unreal on that. And then I mean, I'm happy with my Switch, my baby Switch console, even though it's full HD outwards and the graphics are good enough on that. But I know that the PS5 or an Xbox X would give like so much more power. Even the PS4 would give more power. But in all fairness, I am more about the gameplay and the graphics. The fact that graphics look this good are just a huge bonus. That's what I will say. Because the reason graphics are important in modern video games today is you want to feel immersed in the world that you're in. You want that escape, and this game will definitely give you that. That's the other point I want to raise, which I totally forgot. There you go.
okay. Anyway, Sir JDM, I think Sir JDM has also finished Elden Ring. Sir JDM, what are your thoughts about the game?
No, not yet. Um, the last time I played Elden Ring was in, I think, April or March of this year. But that's because I tried to start over because my save did not carry. It wasn't. It doesn't have my save in the save cloud. I don't know what happened. The last
No.
time, yeah, it's so sad
You lost
because
the save?
the
Oh.
yes, in I think the last boss that I fought was Renela from the academy,
Hmm.
Mm.
and I have to start over because um the first time I played it, I really don't know what to do, so I left it for a couple of months. Then when I got back, what the heck? Where's my save? Where
No.
do I have to start over?
No.
That's why, yeah.
Uh,
But
Actually,
um,
Sir JDM, my son restarted the game. He's actually having more fun now on his second save than his first save because he actually knows what he's doing more now.
yeah,
So yeah, I think if you do get back into Elden Ring and do a fresh run, I think you're gonna enjoy it more because now you have more knowledge with it, and that's the only drawback. I don't think it's a drawback, but most people most people who are so used with the Assassin's Creed games think it is a drawback. It's because the game does not tell you anything. You have to find the
mm,
information for anything about the game. Anyway, Sir Joel, what
That's
are
why
your
we
thoughts
have the
about?
guidebook. The
Yes.
guidebook not
Mm.
sponsored, I wish.
Mm.
They took so much money from Miss Hinu.
they already made a fortune.
They made a fortune out of Misinu for Elden Ring. Sir Joel, what are your thoughts about Misinu's Peak?
I'm really torn about the Soulsborne games in particular, in general, but Elden Ring in particular, because it's a beautiful game. It looks great, and it looks like it plays well. The big problem here is that I'm a I'm a kid of the '80s, and I love myself some joy and excitement. Well, not excitement, some joy in my games, and that's going to reflect in my choice of open world games. The Soulsborne series feels a little bit dreary for somebody like me, and I'm way too old to go to go into a setting where I'll be sad most of the time. So it looks like a great game. It looks like something that I will play if I really was in the mood for it and really get into it, maybe a lot. But maybe when I'm in the correct mindset, probably I'll give it a try. I don't have a problem when it comes to the difficulty or hardship of a game because again, I'm a kid of the '80s and I can handle really tough games where if you die, you go to the very beginning of the stage all over.
Yes.
But I guess more importantly for me, it's important. More importantly for me is the storyline and the joy that I derive from playing it. I'm not gonna begrudge people the joy that they get playing a game like this. If that's your cup of tea, then that's very good. I applaud you for it. But me personally, I would probably play this if I was only in a particular kind of mindset of, for lack of a better word, the goth emo mindset. Maybe, yeah, sure. But uh, as it is, I'm already half of a century old. All that emo has been out of my system for a long time already, so I'll probably jump into this some other time, as after I've played all the games that I derive joy in. But it looks like a really good game. I'll probably give it a go sometime in the future, but not right now with my tastes in games. But if it looks like it's up your alley, I'd say go for it and enjoy it as best as you can. Mhm.
Thank you so much for that, Sir Joel. And I would agree with you that the storyline, most of the side quests from this game actually made me sad. So let's leave it at
See,
that.
see,
Anyway,
I don't want to get depressed. I don't want to get depressed.
yeah, yeah, I totally get the point, and we do play games to be able to enjoy and be happy about the game. So I totally respect Sir Joel's point of view regarding Elden Ring. Anyway, before we move on to the next game, let's hear the thoughts about the person who is most excited about Elden Ring. Sir Joe RPG.
Oh, me. Okay. The last time I played Elden Ring, where was I? I was in a mountain. There's this tower, and there's this dragon. What place was that?
Libre?
Tower, Dragon,
There's a mountain.
Lib-
Rani's
There's a
Quest?
tower. There's a dragon.
Rani's Quest, Azula.
Ah,
Uh,
true.
is it? Because and then I remembered. I played that in my dreams. Ain't nobody got time for this. Fuck this. No. What? So
I tell you what that dream
for
was.
the
Yeah?
longest
Love it.
time.
I love it.
That was you.
For the
Good
long-
one, Joe. I
time.
actually thought you played the game.
Now, that was him fantasizing.
God.
He was the daring in Dragon's Lair. That's what he was fantasizing. He was.
Damn, you got me. Good
That's
one.
the.
For the
That's the
longest time.
God-
Okay,
God, I
when the
win.
game was first announced and it was first released, all of the RPG Facebook pages that I was in, everybody kept clamoring on Elden Ring, and
He's
I'm like,
any waifus in that game. That's what it was. That's what it is.
there's no waifus in this game. No,
Oh, somebody's gonna get angry.
No waifus.
No.
Somebody's gonna get
Um,
angry.
That's why you're upset.
no. I mean, you guys know what I want. Okay,
Yeah,
if I
no,
don't get what I
okay.
want, then
Okay,
most
okay.
likely,
There's no
Right.
waifu
I'm-
that's catered to your
I'm not
taste.
gonna. I'm not going to take it away from you Souls players, from you Bloodborne players, you Elden
I'm not
Ring
a
geeks
Souls
out
player.
there. All right, you guys like you guys like these games, and I'm like, so this was like what 2 3 years ago when this was released. What
2022.
2 years ago.
2022? What the hell were we doing back in 2022? I think I was playing Fantasy Star 4. or Chrono Trigger during those years.
Baten
I don't know.
Kaitos.
I was playing I was
Button.
playing some old stuff than Elden Ring. But being as it may, all right. Credit where credit is due. Okay, for all intents and purposes, as an open world game. So we just played the free roam gameplay of it, and yeah, you really can go anywhere you wish. I mean, God forbid, even the horse can fly. I have seen a horse fly, right? Even the horse that you're riding. So you're riding a horse, jumping through the hoops, jumping through the valleys and the mountains. Shit, Fuck, this is one strong horse. All right. Um, and 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 just like Sir Joel mentioned, it really does look so dark, gray, and dreary. Really. And one of the things that I find about open world games, they can, as much as the idea of an open world, it feels so claustrophobic in a sense that you feel so isolated, like you're alone most of the time, unless you go to a place where there's
Mm,
actually NPCs in there. But
mm.
when you're free roaming, it's just the wilderness out there. It's just the flora. It's just the fauna. Like
You're in the wrong
Yeah,
world.
I get.
You're in the
like
wrong
where are
world
the
if
people?
you feel that.
Where where the what's the saying? Where the white women at? Where the white women at? Nothing.
Anyway,
It's just
Sir
you and your
Joe.
horse.
Uh,
This is
uh,
why I don't really prefer playing the open world games. Ain't no girls for me. Look
All
at.
right.
yeah, well,
It's a
when it
wrong
comes
open
to
world that
your
you've
preference,
been.
It's not drawn
Yeah,
when
out.
Sir
when
Joe
it
Morata
comes to
here.
Sir Joe,
Sir
No,
Joe Morata is here.
hi guys. I'm sorry. I was off the hook for the past week and a half because I have vertigo. Actually, I have vertigo right now. So yeah, but it's really hard. So I it's just right now that's like this is my best day ever, right? For the past week and a half. But yeah, when I heard Drew said that the only legit open world is Breath of the Wild, I just get up of bed and then I asked
um,
Tito Joel if I can if I
This
can
is
join
like
the show.
Finn last.
I would
If
say
you
This
no.
is
if you can
like Finn
complain
last
live,
week.
no,
so you
no,
can
no.
complain live.
I I phrase it as if I was gonna have two games that would define open worldness, it would be Breath of the Wild and Elden Ring. I
Let
didn't
him
say
defend.
the
Let
only
him
legit
defend
one.
himself.
Sorry
Well,
if
well, when I when I heard that, I was like, wait, where did you put World of Warcraft? World of
Ah,
Warcraft is
shit.
the most open world there is because you know why?
First of all, that's
Even
yeah. So yeah.
right. So because even though those space that haven't been developed before, you can even go there. You can go as high as you can, and then you can go as low as you can and under the mountain. So that's the most open world that you can find. So for Sergio, try World of Warcraft. You'll find other people there that
you
you're
will
looking
find a
for
lot of
or
white
try to look for.
Thing with World of
Are there
Warcraft,
are there white women there?
there's lots of women. In fact, there was a paper in the newspapers. There's an article where a man cheated on his wife with a woman in World of Warcraft. That's how dangerous
That's
it
right.
Right,
is.
I heard about that.
exactly,
I heard.
exactly.
Yeah, that happens. And World of Warcraft is one of those games that will take over your life. That's the thing. It's an
Of course.
MMORPG. It never ends. And it's so involving. I mean, I'd say it's more than open world. It's an MMORPG. You're going to spend hours into that game. I know people spent half their
Right.
life in that game already. MMORPG, whilst it's so immersive,
It's so
takes
immersive. Yeah.
it's a dangerous game. You'll forget to
Yeah.
eat. You'll crap your pants playing that game.
That's
You know?
that's why I'm
It's
gonna
the only
blame you
game
guys.
know.
That's why I'm gonna blame you guys. The last people that we had the podcast, right? And I said World of Warcraft. One that day it all came back to me. I came back to World of Warcraft, and now I was capping all my characters to cap level, and then I was just my wife was like, "Are you back on that game again?"
Yeah. These
Are,
games
are
are meant
you
to
winning?
take to escape. They're not
I
meant to take
think
over your life. They're not meant to supplement your
It's
life.
like
World of Warcraft will do that. to you.
it's like
Over
human
your
crack.
anyway,
life.
anyway, guys, I think this
Let's go
is
back to the topic first. Drew.
I
No,
think this
open
is
world.
a very nice segue
World of
to
Warcraft.
actually go and let Sir Jomar talk about his open world pink. By the way, Sir Jomar, we're so glad that you are able to be here and join us, and we're so happy that this is a good day for your vertigo. And I'm sorry if I haven't said anything about World of Warcraft because now I was I am still a very cheap person, and anything with subscription for me to be able to play. So even though I like Final Fantasy, I didn't play 11 and 14 because that requires money. I played Ragnarok before. Slightly, but my allowance was not able to keep up with me playing that game, so I stopped playing that game. So that's the reason why I have zero experience with World of Warcraft. Anyway, let's move on to the topic with Sir Jomar sharing his open world pick, which I think has already been
How many
discussed.
picks? How many picks? How many picks
Just
for
one.
open world game? Just
Yes,
one. Of course,
open world.
I'm gonna go with
One.
World of Warcraft for my open world. But that's one of my favorite genre for games is MMORPG. So every MMORPG, that not every one of them, but some of them, I make sure that I try it and then compare the experiences. For example, New World, GTA 5. GTA 5 is an open world also. Um, the GTA 5 series, and then what else? Um, Ragn- oh, okay. Ragnarok RF Online is actually the old school open world. The only thing that's not, some people will raise eyebrows on it. It will because it changes map, it loads map, so it's not considered as open world. The concept of open world was like far as Zelda, the one on NES, because you have the world on a square and then you can roam around, but then you change map, you load it. But that's the first concept of open world until, of course, World of Warcraft came, Skyrim came. So everything was, became different. People saw what open world really is. So World of Warcraft, of course, is my favorite. You can talk to people, like Viraj said. It's a dangerous game, especially when World of Warcraft is still in its prime, back early 2000. Man, everybody was hooked up. There are people that, they will give their uh their life on it, like
Their
their real life.
firstborn son.
Ah.
They're gonna give their firstborn son.
Well, I don't know about that, but I did there are news that people gave their life for it. It's sad, but yeah, people were doing that, especially when they maybe they thought they're still gonna respawn on their bedroom, but no. Yeah, so this is a really really good game until they broke it. uh for me, World of Warcraft was the best. World of Warcraft is until uh Lich King, and then that's it. They broke it after that. Any question? Too much.
Okay,
You guys
I mean,
I was actually waiting. I thought you were not yet
No, no, no.
finished. Sorry.
I was. Yeah. That's because everybody already know World of Warcraft and how,
yeah, I
what
mean,
it looked like. Yeah.
it's
So
it's a game that
uh, I, I
I don't really
uh,
recognize it as open world. I mean, I just see it as an MMORPG, but yeah, it is open world, and it's more than just open world. It's just so immersive because just how big it's become. It's a
right.
game that's grown and grown and grown, and for me, I see this as a toxic game. Forgive me for saying this because it ruins people's lives because they live their life in this video game. That's why
Right.
I've always been anti MMORPG because the game never ends. Like Fantasy Star Online on the Dreamcast, that was like such a very popular game for that console when MMORPGs became a big thing.
Right.
I knew people in school who were tired the next day, when I was finishing, like I was in the last years of exams, and this guy called Lee Kelly I went to school with had red eyes. I thought, you got the pink eye for? What's going on? And not pink eye, red eye. He had the red eye, and I thought, what's going on? He was, I was playing Fantasy Star Online. Like, it's such a good game, bro. I'm like, I just saw this kid. I thought, bloody hell, and he didn't do well in his exams because that's what was happening. It does take over your life, and it makes you ruin your priorities. So for that reason, and that reason alone, I think it's not a game that's for everyone, and it shouldn't be for everyone. It's for people who have lots of time on their hands, and these people with
Right.
lots of time on their hands happen to be bums who don't work for a living that live off benefits. That's what I look at when I think of this game. On social welfare. That's what I look at. They're the only people who've got time to play this thing. I mean, it's just so immersive and it's just so involving and deep, and it is a lot of
Right.
fun. And the thing is you'll get engrossed in it. I mean, that being said, there are characters like that A-list actor Henry Cavill. He's into this game as well, but obviously he doesn't play it nowhere near as much as he used to because of his career and all the other things. He's going to be a father soon. It's only when you got the time to play it. But I personally would steer clear away from this game. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I think it's bad for different reasons because of just how
Yeah.
deep and involving and how life changing it can be. Because it'll just take over your
Right.
life. Live your life. Something
Right,
don't let
Right.
it become the game.
So
Live
this,
in the real world.
actually, when you start this game, it's like you're dedicating a part of your life after your real life to this game. For example, the hardest part will be if you are on a guild before. What people do is we have raids here, boss raids. So boss raids go like for one sitting, like 8 hours minimum, 6 hours, 8 hours minimum. You guys are planning for the boss. Sometimes you waste your 8 hours, but then you don't even kill the boss, right? The longest boss that I can remember here that they took down for 6 months or more was Ragnarok. So he's the hardest. So people were like dedicating their lives on it to do the world's first because the competition here is doing the world's first. If you kill the boss first, doing some quest first and achievement first, that's the competition here. Except, and don't forget, there's also PvP. You have to be the strongest group, the guild that will be that will be known on this on Azeroth. So this is actually people are when they get into this game, extreme people, they um they also role play. They role play what they have, what characters they have, and then they thought that that's me. That's why some people, uh again, it's sad but true, but some people when they lost PvP they also killed themselves. So
Yeah.
that's how bad this game is before. I know.
um
I don't know about now.
eh, well, Sir Jomar, actually, of all the games that I have played, the only games that my wife would get mad at me would be games that has any type of time devotion online, like
Mhm.
Destiny
Mm.
2, League of Legends, MU Cabal. There was a time when MMOs were really hype and everybody was playing these certain games,
Right.
and all because of what Ragnarok Online did, and for the rich
Yeah.
people, what World of Warcraft did to them. And
Not for the rich
um
people. Ragnarok is also for the rich people. You pay before, right? You buy a load.
yeah,
50
yeah,
pesos.
It's
the
not
rich
rich
people games.
people. To
Anyway,
be honest here,
anyway,
online
the,
subscription based gaming
the
is cheap.
reason why my wife despises it when I'm playing this type of games is because she can't do her spell check on me. Like when I'm playing an online game where like start. I be like, no, no, online. Oh, no, no, don't disturb. It's like she hates it when she can call me when I'm playing a game because she knows on single player games I could pause it. Luckily, on Elden Ring,
Mhm.
you cannot also pause. Technically, you cannot pause in Elden Ring.
Yeah, you can just
She
hide,
knew,
right? You can
yes,
hide.
you can have, but she knew that she could not really call me on Elden Ring. Anyway, my wife hates it it uh when there's a certain addicting game that requires me to go online to talk over the microphone, especially when
Yes.
doing raids in Destiny 2. She hates it because it's more than you playing a game. It's like a commitment, like what Sir Jomar was saying, and it's actually a really really scary type of video game because not only is there more money involved, it's also more time involved and
Mhm.
more focus involved when playing these games. So that's why my wife hates this certain times of games.
But
Other
but
games
don't
she's
get me
okay.
wrong, don't get me wrong. Okay, anyone can play World of Warcraft without dedicating a lot of their time on World of Warcraft. But if you want those gears, if you want those mounts, if you want those achievements, and if you want to raid a boss, well, you have to be committed, and then you have to join a guild. That's where that's where the time that it's gonna be hard for you to track time and to track your life. But then I do understand why World of Warcraft broke the game beyond Lich King, the Ice Crown, because after that, any noobs can actually, or single player that people doesn't want to join a guild, anyone can join a join a raid without having a guild. They Because they introduced what they call a raid finder. So when you queue for a raid finder, you don't have to be a guild. You don't have to be in a guild. You don't have to have that really powerful equipment. But the only requirement is you reach a certain equipment score, and then after you reach a certain equipment score, even the most minimum, you can join the raid. So a lot of uh, old school players of WoW was actually pissed when they introduced that, because what the old people were saying, that why did the noobs are getting the 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 really good equipment without the hard work. So again, Blizzard again made another adjustment. So noobs can get equipment, but not the higher tier of the same equipment that the one that you join with a guild and then do the old school raiding. So that's how they differentiate everything.
Uh,
Mm.
But you can
So,
play it right now and not get addicted.
okay,
but
if you say so.
how time consuming is it? I mean, for example, because is it's if it's something like Destiny 2, wherein you have to be able to, well, they made changes to it anyway. So when you're a newcomer, you could grind somewhat,
Mhm.
just a bit, a quicker amount, faster amount of time than when somebody was grinding before who came, somebody before you who came to the particular game and
Right.
be able to participate with the guild with the raids, something is it like is there like 20-40 hours, something like that commitment before you get up to date?
Well, before leveling a character, it's like hell. You're like going through hell. It's not hours. It's gonna be days. It's gonna be months before. It's gonna be weeks before you get your character to cap. But right now, I don't know if if you've seen me. I was streaming on WoW right now. If you know what you're doing, you can cap a character for level 1 to 70, like let's say 8 to 10 hours.
Oh, that's
That's good.
actually quite fast for
Yes, really
that's
fast right now, because
it's actually very accessible.
yeah,
So
because what they did on WoW is they wanted more new people to come in. That's why they made the game easier. That's why old pe- old players were like ranting about it. Why did you do that? So this is a time investment. This is a life investment, right? But then WoW was, trying to uh, gather those new people for the game, and that's why they're introducing a lot of stuff right now. That right now they have this event called Remix, which make everything fast to level up and gain those equipment that you like, to gain it faster. So of course, yes, 8 to 10 hours. It will cap you to 1 to 70.
So World of Warcraft right now is the longest running MMO. Is that right, Sir Jomar?
Yes, yeah, right.
No. I didn't even know that it's still up and running. Anyway, any other
Yeah.
people from the panel who has anything about World of Warcraft?
I mean, come
I
on.
can honestly say. Oh, go ahead, Viraj. You go first. You go first.
I mean, World of Warcraft. There was a movie. It's so relevant. It just came out a few years ago, with Travis Fimmel. Whether the movie was good or not is another thing. But World of Warcraft is huge. It's like one of the biggest games out there ever. And the fact that it's still going today in the same way Fortnite is still going today is because there's so many users that play this game. And it's like I said, these people who play it, I don't want to taint everyone with the same brush, but a lot of these people have got nothing better to do but play video games because they've got the time to do it. And that's the truth with MMORPGs. If you're young, you have time, you play it, that's it. And you made a very interesting point, John. Right? You don't have to invest that much time. If you're in control, you play a few hours here and there. Daily. If you got that control, it won't take over your life. But then you won't progress as far as you can in that game. And the idea of MMORPG is you want to progress as quick and as fast as you can, or as far as you can, which is why you invest so much time playing this particular game. So that's why I think MMORPGs can be quite toxic. That's just my view on it. And it's exactly what Sir Drew said. No wonder your wife. I'd hate you. If not that I'm married to you, Sir Drew, but if I was your wife, or if it was anyone's husband or whatever, if I had a partner who's just addicted to MMORPGs, I'd leave them. I'd say, go on then.
Right.
You go. Why don't you clean the toilet, man? Someone's got to clean this
Right,
toilet. Why
right.
not clean the toilets, man?
Everything
Why
is
not
correct.
dinner?
What Viraj is saying.
You're playing video games all day. Come on.
Hmm.
We got a life here. We're trying to live a life together, and you're
I
like
mean, there's
24.
a reason why WoW players are very notorious. It's because how immersed they are and how addicted they are to WoW. They
Yeah.
literally live in their rooms.
That's right. They're in the
You you
Matrix. They're in the
you
Matrix.
guys should talk to a PvP player on WoW. That
Mm.
that guy is very toxic for sure.
That's my thoughts on WoW.
Yeah, in my case, I'm honestly very afraid of starting off something like WoW. I've tried a couple of games before, like Guild Wars 2, Star Trek Online. Uh,
Mm.
one of my friends keeps inviting me to join him in Elder Scrolls Online, and
Mm.
honestly, I'm afraid to start off on one of them because, like Jomar says, it's formulated by the developers to be extremely addictive, and I no shade on any WoW players or Guild Wars players or Star Trek Online players or whatever, but like Jomar says, it's one of the things that you have to put in a giant investment of time, possibly even money, and a lot of effort too. So in that sense, I'm not quite sure it's something for me, but if it's for you, then go for it, I'd say. And there's a lot of content there to enjoy, and there's a lot of things for you to get addicted to. But yeah, realize that if you're going to be going into this, you're going to be sacrificing a lot of other things,
Mhm.
games that you may have on the backlog, other things, tasks that you have pending, the relationships that you may develop in real life.
Mhm.
Those are things that are going to go fall by the wayside. You're going to develop rich, rewarding relationships online, but at the end of it, it's just going to be a lot. It's going to have you're going to have to choose what you're going to invest your time, money, and effort in.
Mhm.
No fault to you if you decide to do this with your MMO. That's cool. That's fine. Open worlds are open worlds, and they're amazing. They're built very well, and there's lots to do. But in the end, you have to choose what you spend your resources on. And I'm afraid to do it on my side because there's a lot that's pending on my
And
side.
your wife and
That's
kid.
Actually, Tito Joel, this is the literal Second Life.
Yes,
Even
agreed.
before the game Second
Agreed.
Life came
Second
out.
Life, I remember that one. Yeah.
Right, you guys remember Second Life, right?
Yes.
This is actually the Second Life, this game before when people were going crazy about it.
All right. Cool.
And yeah,
Okay.
and with that
I
being
play.
said, back to you, Drew.
Okay, and that's the whole story regarding our opinions and thoughts on World of Warcraft. And I honestly here I'm actually really sorry on my end because my brain actually would categorize all MMOs as MMOs on my head. So I'm really sorry, Sir Jomar, if I didn't count World of Warcraft
No,
as
no,
an
no.
open world because my brain categorize certain things on, like I'm just like a horse. I'm just like uh anyway, I'm gonna
Don't
No,
get
no
sidetracked.
apologies, no apologies
apologize.
because no,
Two things
yeah,
can be true at the same time.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I also
My
played
brain still
Breath of the
my
Wild.
brain
That's
still
why.
so I need to categorize them in a certain way for me to be able to differentiate them. Anyway, I'm gonna actually hand the reins to Sir Joe RPG for our partners introduction. Anyway, Sir Joe RPG, take it away. Sir Joe, the mic.
Muted.
I always keep forgetting it's on mute. So we'll do a couple of ads, and then we'll go straight to Sir Dan's pick for his choices of open world games. Start your own online live streams, webinars, podcasts, online classes, and virtual presentations with Streamyard. By using Streamyard's user-friendly interface, you can also do simultaneous multi-streaming if you have accounts to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and other platforms. If live streaming is not your style, video and audio recordings are also available, especially with those who have variable and inconsistent internet connections. The finished output will still come out as clear and well articulated exactly as you originally intended. You can also customize the appearance of your presentation, like green screen effects, facial touch-ups to smoothen out those facial blemishes, multiple cameras for multiple guests joining in the discussion, your own wallpaper on the background, adding your own logo as a watermark, sharing videos from your own computer or other website for added visual aids with or without audio, uploading your own background music if you wish to set the mood when talking, and lots more. Before you can enjoy all of the wonderful full features of StreamYard, you can start with a 14-day free trial by using our link. Not only that you are supporting the Timeless Gamer Show, but you can see it for yourself how easy it is using StreamYard. Do you like playing video games? Do you like reading about history? Do you like learning about video game history? Then you should give yourself the gift of owning some video game history books from BitMap. Since 2014, BitMap Books have published numerous colorful and well-detailed hardbound books about video games ranging from the different video game consoles of old and the various video game genres that will surely pique the interest of its core fanbase. BitMap's team of global video game journalists, players, and illustrators have produced numerous award-winning titles that celebrate the software, hardware, and developers that laid down the foundations for the billion-dollar video game industry we all know and love today. International shipping is also available with careful and considerate packaging from BitMap Books. If you don't want to take my word for it, then you can believe the people, almost 10,000 satisfied customers who submitted their glowing written reviews and video reviews after receiving their books from BitMap. By ordering your first BitMap book using our link, you will also be supporting the Timeless Gamers Show in spreading our love of video games and their rich history.
Hello, Timeless Gamer crew. We're talking open world games. My choice for favourite open world game is 2002's Morrowind, and a lot of you will have heard of this by now. It's obviously part of the Elder Scrolls series. I'll be very surprised if any of you haven't heard of Skyrim. Definitely. Obviously, a lot of you will be familiar with Oblivion 2, and there's earlier entries in the series such as Arena and Daggerfall. Morrowind, for me, gets the blend of what Bethesda did with the series spot on. It has its flaws. There's a lot to get past to enjoy it, but when you get past those flaws, it is luck. Okay, I'm going to talk about those flaws first, because if you come into this game, you're better off being aware of these flaws so you can mentally think, right, I've got to endure these to get to the good. Now, the biggest flaw for me is the combat. It's dice-based and stat-based, but they turn it into an action-based mechanic. It's very hard to describe, even weirder when you first play it, but it becomes bearable. You know, I mean, when you get used to it, it becomes livable. And it actually can be quite fun once you're powered up, but definitely at the start, it's just like, you know, this is crap. So you need to get past that. You also need to get past the fact that it's text-based and not voice-based. That doesn't bother me at all, because I think a lot of voice acting shit and actually kills the immersion in games. But a lot of the text can repeat itself. And even though I'd say vanilla, this is still a good game, I would definitely install the less generic Morrowind NPC mod, okay, which adds a lot more text and adds a lot more flavor. When you go to each region, NPCs talk about those regions more, which just makes it feel a lot more immersed. And the other flaw really is the slowness at the start of the game. That you however you build your character, you run and move really slow, and you fight pretty much nothing but mud crabs and cliff racers for a long period of time. So I can see why a lot of people wouldn't like Morrowind, and I see why it would be very hard to get into. But once you're into it, it's delicious. It is a lovely game. What makes it so good, and for me, what makes it way better than Skyrim and Oblivion, is the world itself. And you can tell that this world is handcrafted. You know, I mean, it is a spectacularly deep world. This is the kind of world where Bethesda, they've hidden like axes, magical axes under people's pillows. And if you look under a pillow, you find a magical axe pinch. There's that type of detail and depth. You will stumble across ancient ruins and hidden sanctuaries and places of Daedric, which is demonic worship, that are not indicated. You just go out and discover, and Morrowind perfectly captures that sense of, I'm just going to look down here and see what I find. And you find yourself going into some weird rabbit hole where at the end of that rabbit hole is some Daedric god. You know, it is phenomenal. It is really an incredibly designed world. And what adds to that is the faction. The factions here in the other Elder Scrolls game and a lot of open world games, they don't really interlink much. Whereas in Morrowind, some of the factions, they kind of vying, well, a lot of the factions are vying against each other for positions. So when you choose a sister faction, you're by default a lot of the time acting against another faction. And it makes it very immersive. It makes you think more and sucks you in more and makes it deep. So in that respect, great. But for me, what really makes Morrowind, what really makes it is the magic, because you don't just get given spells. You can manipulate spells and kind of create spells differently. And this ties in with your class system. It's very analog. It's not digital. It's not like you take your perks and you get the skill. There's a lot of variables to it, so it feels organic and natural, and it really works really well. And what adds to that, and what really makes it great, is you can basically evolve into a god, which kind of ties into the story really well as well. You can basically go from somebody who's walking around doing bog standard stuff to somebody who can run across the planet in lightning times, who fly, all kinds of wacky shit. And it is brilliant. It is so incredible. When I first played it back in 2002, and you go from, you think this world's going to be kind of big, but not as big as it is, and you go from this like little pleb and evolve, exploring this vast world and become this super like god type thing. It's just an incredible journey. It feels so organic and it feels so natural, and it just is incredibly absorbing. So I would highly recommend checking out Morrowind. I think it is dated. You definitely want you to check your mods out. The two I use is the less generic NPCs and the better heads and bodies mods. But other than that, you don't need that many. I won't install absolutely all these rebalancing mods. I've always found it fine. But it is, if you want to go on a real epic, absorbing journey, Morrowind's go without a shadow of doubt. But I have got some honourable mention without a shadow of doubt. I'm going to throw in Saints Row Row 4, I just love how wild the world is in Saints Row 4. I think the perfect evolution of that type of game. For me, GTA, I love GTA and Vice City, but they lost the way for me when they started hitting San Andreas, GTA 4, because it became like they tried to be Sims, and I don't want that from, I want wildness and craziness from a game like that. I want to blow shit up. I want to, I want to fly doing lunatic type stuff. And Saints Row 4 gives you that in abundance with a shitload of humor. You know what I mean? It is absolutely fantastic. It's got the tunes, it's got the style, it's proper crackerjack. So Saints Row 4 gets an honourable mention for me as well. And I'm going to throw in as well another game which I mentioned before, which is Avernum Escape from the Pit. Again, this is just a great world. This is really, really isometric CRPG adventure in its finest. And it's an incredibly absorbing, well-crafted fantasy world. Really gives you that feeling of being on a fantasy adventure. So they're my choices. I hope you get to check them out. I dare say some of you have played them already anyway. But yeah, if you're wanting to get sucked into some big worlds to explore, that keep giving. A lot of open world games for me get repetitive, they get dull, they get boring, they get predictable. All these ones I mentioned don't. They will constantly give you fresh stuff as you explore. And yeah, I'm not saying they don't repeat themselves in little bits, but there's a lot to get stuck into there. So, but wait, I forgot to mention a game that I feel bad if I don't mention it, because it is just such a good game, and that is The Saboteur. Now, as far as open world games go, this is a kind of cross between Assassin's Creed and GTA. It's very action, but it's a work of art, and it's actually, if you say to me, name a modern hidden gem, this would be my choice, because this is so lush. Okay, now it's got all the elements you need in an action open world game to make it enjoyable. But what makes it stand out is the art. This is a very beautiful and clever game. When you fight in Nazi-occupied territories, the world is black, white, and red. And that's cool. And when you free that region, it's this lovely, still rich. It gets converted to that, which just feels very, very French. When you do that, you want to sit there with your feet up and a bottle of Chateau Margaux and just drink it in and sink it in. It's fantastic. But the action's great. The action is really good. There's a little, the parkour aspect's a bit janky, but it feels really, the actual action feels really grounded and really weighty and, really, really meaty is the word I'm looking for. It's very just rich with flavor and fast paced, and, it can be brutal at times, really. What makes the gameplay so amazing, and the game is full of this kind of stuff to make it so good. What makes it so amazing is the side missions aren't actually side missions. The Germans have occupied France, so there's loads of sniping, there's loads of tanks, there's loads of propaganda, there's all this laid around of all Paris and the surrounding area. And it's jam chocker full of it. So you're a saboteur, and you can destroy them when you want. You basically go on your own little minigame. And why that's so good is because when you take like a row of sniper nests down, when you do a mission in that area, the mission becomes easier because there's not those snipers taking you out. So it just gives this game an incredible feeling of depth, and you get a great sense of satisfaction and reward, because it's not like, when you do side missions in other games, you get 50 grand money or whatever, but it don't feel like you've affected the world. Whereas this, it really does. Really feel like you're kicking back and pushing back with the resistance against the Nazis. You play this game and you really get to hate the Nazis. You really do. It's just really well done, and there's a great story as well. It's all well packed together. So I have to throw that one in because it's just so good. Just get the Saboteur played, because it's pretty timeless.
Yeah.
It's an amazing choice.
Dan's choices are amazing.
Yeah.
I played every single
Amazing
one of
choice.
those except for the Saboteur. Now that Dan has recommended that, I just checked my GOG library, and it turns out that I do have it. That's going to be next on my list to play. But I completely agree with all of Dan's choices. Morrowind is amazing. Saints Row 4 is stupendous. Avernum Escape from the Pit is grand. You have no idea what you're getting into, but once you get into it, it really sucks you in. And now that he's recommended the Saboteur, I'm definitely going to play it over the weekend. Thanks for the recommendations, Dan.
Very good.
All
All
right,
right.
back to you.
Awesome recommendations from Sir Dan. And by the way, for all of our audio listeners, I do pity you because you were not able to see Sir Dan's muscular body. He was doing some Sando gaming action. He was showing his armpits.
The
You
dumps.
missed out, so I would really recommend you guys to watch our video version so that you would be able to see some of those awesome hot hunky action live, and you would be able to comment all of those feelings that you have kept
I thought,
inside.
hey,
Yes.
Man.
I thought we're doing the Husbando episode. Like,
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's
what
we,
we
the
aim
uh,
for
Sir
husband
like,
Dan's
episode.
contributing
why is
in
he showing his
more
body
ways.
now?
And
we'll
guys,
Sir
there's a
Dan,
body behind
we'll,
that voice.
we'll make clips of dance flexing for the husband
yeah, we definitely
episode.
need to. Anyway, we got into a bit of a side quest because we were all astounded by the way Sir Dan flexed, and we will not let him forget about this
Yeah,
anytime soon.
Only available in Patreon, guys.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
unbelievable.
only Patreon. anyway, awesome choices. I do love the Saints Row series, Saboteur, which also remind me, Mafia 2 is also an awesome game in the open world setting. I also do recommend that, and I love their collectibles. By the way, for all of the men of culture out there, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, proceeding on with our choices. So let's move on with Sir JDM's pick, and let's see what open world setting he's gonna take us to. Sir JDM, take it away.
Hmm.
Yes, for me, it's going to be Far Cry 5.
Ooh.
And it's an open world game which is set in Hope County. This thing behind me. In Hope County, Montana, you play as a rookie deputy who just got into service for like a few days. Then they started hearing reports about this cult leader who's leading these cult followers and trying to convert everyone in Hope County. It was their leader is Joseph Seed, who's somehow of uh, what they call this messiah complex, and he's also I think he had this charisma which allows him to talk. He can persuade any people that he talks to, although he's also very brutal, but not really like his other companions in the cult. And here you can see the environment in the game. There are I like the setting. It's unlike from the previous Far Cry series where you play where it's set in archipelagos or islands like in Far Cry 3, which was set in Rook Island somewhere in Polynesia. And in Far Cry 4, you play in like a place called Kairat, or it's somewhere in the India Tibet area.
Yeah.
This one is like a departure from those Pacific and Asian countries. This one is inside the US in Montana, somewhere in northwest of the United States. And the thing, th- what I like here is you can see a lot of flora and fauna, especially that those if you see in the video, for those of you who are listening in the audio only. You can see a bear running around while you're trying to raid these cult followers. You can also see falcons, bisons, most especially the honey badgers. That you know how skunks looks like, but they're not as stinky as the skunks, but they do look like skunks. Those honey badgers. There's even a mission here that if you there's a side quest here where you're trying to help one of the villagers, and when you get into a cave, it will ask you if you're going to proceed to the mission. Like there are three questions asking if are you really sure that you want to do this mission. Then when you answer yes to all of those questions, all you can see at the end of the cave is just a single honey badger. That's how dangerous that animal is. Forget about the brown bears, forget about the wolverines and the bisons. It's the honey badgers that you need to watch out for. And yeah, it's the scene is really refreshing because from the unlike the previous Far Cry games, you see green a lot in the game, but here it's almost a wasteland. You see a lot of browns like dried leaves and wood, and it's really immersive, especially if you're using a really widescreen resolution like the 21 by 9. Those ultra wide resolutions, you can see so much of the environment that's around you. And as with other open world games, you can go ahead and explore areas of uh, the place without going through the main story missions. You can find different uh, non-playable characters. One of them you have already seen from the previous games, like Herc. You can even see his father here, Herc Junior. Um, you can meet you can meet his father here, who was residing here in Hope County, and you can also do side quests. You can hunt for animals, and you can fly planes. You can ride jet skis in the water. So you can do fishing as well. I should not forget about that.
Oh, definitely not. And definitely don't forget that JDM, especially in my case when I played through the game. The fishing aspect was amazing. I enjoyed that part a lot.
Oh no, fishing.
Yes, fishing.
Yes. Fishing is
You
like
can do a lot of
a code word for JRPG players that, oh, you should try this game.
Oh yeah.
yeah. And there are also places that you could go fish actually. You can do fast travels, which uh, can you do fast travels here? I
Hey,
forgot. I
JDM,
played
this looks
this
like
game
GTA.
like
This looks
Sorry,
like
yeah.
Jama,
GTA
you were
5.
about to say.
Yeah,
Yes,
so I was saying that this looked like GTA 5, just destroying everything.
Oh yeah.
yes.
Well,
Only
Definitely.
in first person view.
yes. Well, I
And
mean,
I mean,
it's
this
the
past
nice thing about it is, if I can interject, JDM, the nice thing about it is it does capture the feel of being here in the United States, in Montana. Of course, to a very exaggerated degree, but this is the environment itself, very mountainous, lots of long roads, lots of rural areas and everything. It captures the feel of being somewhere in the United States. And the nice thing about it is when I did my playthrough of this a couple of years ago, it was it was so much fun that you really got immersed in the world itself. Granted, it's just one small state of the US,
Mm.
but the fact is, it was a very fun game, and there were so many things that you could do. And you could have pets too that would help you in the attacks against the cult leaders or the cult headquarters. You have a cougar named Peaches. You have a dog named Boomer, and you have
Yeah.
a bear called Cheeseburger. Of all things.
Cheeseburger. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a lot of fun. And the nice thing is, there's so many things to do. There goes Peaches. Go swimming. Who
Yeah.
says that cats are afraid of water? But yeah,
Can you-
it had a very involving story with it as well. Like you being the rookie deputy trying to take down a cult, a group of cult fanatics, and it was very. Even my daughter really got involved in the storyline. She was watching it. She was watching me play it, and yeah, I would say this is one of the more perfect open world games that I've ever played. I'll just leave it at that, JDM. And you made a really good choice on this one. But continue, JDM.
Can you kill the
Yeah.
animals?
And
Can you kill the animals? Yeah, you can
Yes.
incapacitate them, shoot at
The
them.
guy he's playing is an animal lover, but I see him destroying all these vehicles. I'm thinking, what a waste of money. If you're gonna kill it, I mean that animal looks threatening. That can harm you. You're shooting these vehicles, and there's no need to shoot the vehicles. These animals is a bear that can maul you. Why are you right on your side? Kill the animals. Like, what is this? Huh? The animals need
It's
to be
fun. It's a lot of fun.
and
It's fr-
these animals are more reliable than the human NPCs
Yeah,
that you
agreed.
encounter,
Agreed.
because
Yeah,
they
agreed.
run around
Can you get on the
shooting.
back of that animal and ride it like in Harold and Kumar ride a cheetah? Can that happen? If you ride it like a horse,
Unfortunately, no. But
No.
in Far Cry 4, you're
that's
able
boring.
to mount elephant.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. I
Primal, if
remember
I remember
mounting an elephant. And
in GTA
also in
5, you
Far
can mount a
Cry,
boar.
Oh, yes. Baboy the mo. Okay, there you go.
All right. I mean, my familiarity with Far Cry as a series is I remember when I worked in the game shop all those years ago, and the first Far Cry came out. I think it was on the Xbox. I mean, I know it's a PC game, but it was ported to Xbox. That was actually seen as a critical hit for the system because it was graphically outstanding. And again, it's like, your first person open world. And as the series has evolved, it just got better and better with every subsequent. I know this is 5 we're talking about. The 6th one with it's got Giancarlo Esposito in it, and he's an A-list actor, AAA actor in Hollywood. The fact that they can get that sort of star power in a game to act in it is outstanding. So, obviously this is the 5th game before the 6th one that came out back in 21. So the fact that you're saying this is really good, it's definitely a game worth playing. I did play the first one on Xbox. I haven't played any of the series since then, but I did remember being impressed with the graphics even then. This looks a lot more, like 10 times better than the original, and I'm sure it's a great. And I don't really see this as an open world, even though it is an open world game. I see it as a first-person shooter / open world, and I suppose that genre has evolved into an open world environment. So that's the interesting thing. Like, you got the map there, you got a whole world there of things you can do. So definitely a fascinating game with a number of variables, apart from the fact that you can't ride on the cheaters. But other than that, it seems interesting.
Sir
maybe
Mirage
there's
is
a mod. There's a mod
emphasizing
in
on
this game
riding.
where
Ride the cheater in the video game is crap, as far as I'm concerned. I want to get on top of that cheater and ride it like in Harold and Kumar.
Yeah, riding.
Yeah, and you can also there's also a multiplayer aspect in this game. You can do open world co-op uh, gameplay as well, and there's also other kinds of multiplayer game. And also, if you remember Far Cry 3, there's what do you call this, Blood Dragon. Here in Far Cry 5, you have this like um like a spin-off game where you play as a marine fighting for the Vietnam War, like Rambo, something like that. But it did not gain any fame, unlike Blood Dragon. And there's
What?
also like a sequel to this game, which is Far Cry New Dawn. The setting is still the same, but um, the world is a bit different because of the ending of this game. So I will not spoil the ending of this game. So
All right.
that's it for me, Far Cry 5.
Yeah, and Far Cry as a series is really, really, what do you call this? Has been mostly centered around on the villains, right, Sir JDM? And on this one is Joseph Seed. Did I say
Mhm.
that correctly? Um,
Yes.
and that's the main promotion when it comes to the Far Cry series. And I haven't played a Far Cry 5 and New Dawn and the latest one, but on the previous games they center around the main villain, but they tend to have very little interaction with the main villains, and that's one of the things that they mostly complain about for Far Cry. But overall, it's an amazing series because you get to live in this world in a first person view, and such an awesome pick from Sir JDM. I do hope I do find the time to be able to experience Hope Country for myself. Anyway, anybody from the panel who has any thing to add to Sir JDM's selection, which is Far Cry 5?
Well, all I can say is it's a great feeling to be able to run over bison like that, and um, try to not let the honey badgers get to your nuts, because really that's not a happy experience. Okay.
One thing I have noticed with Far Cry is mostly the smaller animals, the smaller animals that are more dangerous, like
No,
when
honestly,
they.
honestly, the thing about all the animals in Far Cry in general, but particularly Far Cry 5, they're constantly angry at you, and they're always out to get you. So that's that's the be careful of all the fauna in Far Cry 5, because they're angry at you for some reason. There you go.
It's like your wanted
Yeah,
level is on the
I, re-
highest star rating for all of
Mm,
the animals.
I, I remember playing Far Cry 4. Uh, there are like eagles flying around, and whenever they see dead carcasses of animals, they try to, even the live ones, they try
mm,
to like target it and take it away by grabbing them. You see them
mm.
flying with the boars.
Mm.
Yeah,
It's the
it's
small
really
things like
weird.
that. It's
Which
the
is,
small
I
things
think
like
that
that
will
that make.
happen in real life.
Mhm. No,
Notice
honestly,
how
Mm,
you
yeah.
think
Emma,
eagles are small things? No, they have 10-foot wingspans. They're huge, honestly.
so
Mhm.
that we just saw moments ago, weren't you driving in that car that was supposed to be Bumblebee and Transformers? Why didn't it transform into an Autobot? Like, this game is not accurate.
No, I mean, if they did Far Cry 5 with
And you
Transformers, I'd
crashed
play
it.
it. Yeah.
Why did you not come out of a Transformer? This game isn't accurate. It should have been a Transformer. Sorry, but that was Bumblebee. Right? That was a Chevrolet, had the black stripe, yellow color, just like Bumblebee, and you crashed it, and it didn't even go turn into Bumblebee. That's just
Maybe there's a mod where it can turn into Bumblebee or those other. You see those big trucks? It could actually
Ah,
be
Optimus
Optimus
Prime
Prime or Rodimus Prime, right?
or Ultra Magnus could be. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm just missing about interesting game. Interesting game for sure.
Yeah, that's the one thing that PC players have over console players is that they are able to expand the games that we love into ways more imaginative than we could actually imagine, because they have all the tools to actually mod
Yeah,
this
yeah. I've
game.
seen
So yeah,
those skins in Street Fighter 6. I've seen them. They're good. I think Sir Joe would
yeah.
approve. Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, awesome pick from Sir JDM, and I do hope that I find the time to actually be able to play that one. Um, and proceeding on with the show, let's hear from the Waipu man himself, the one and true JRPG connoisseur of the group. Let's hear it for Sir Joe RPG for his
No,
pick on our open
no,
world.
no,
Yeah.
no.
No?
Do me last. Let's go with Sir Joe.
Okay.
Tradition.
Okay. Okay.
Oh my-
Some sort of retaliation. There is a coup de grace in our panel.
Okay, fine.
Not joking as that joking. Let's go with Sir Joel and let's hear from him and let him take us to his open world.
All right. In my case, I've delved into a lot of open worlds, and I've played a few. I haven't had the chance to play a few in the past, like the Ultima Online series, Spider-Man 2 on PS2. I hear that one is a lot of fun, but playing Grand Theft Auto was one of my one of the moments that it opened my eyes to open world games. But my personal choice in the games that I'm going to feature today is a game series called Just Cause, of which I am going to show this one in particular, Just Cause 2, which really launched the series for me. Just Cause 1 I played a little bit. It was very janky. It was very the gameplay was still developing, but when Just Cause 2 hit, this one really pushed the open world, causing chaos and toppling government's gameplay to the very forefront because of the fact that you play somebody called Rico Rodriguez, who has a wrist attachment that allows him to grapple to different places. You can do lots of different tricks. You can shoot towards the wall and grapple towards that. When you're falling from dangerous heights that would normally kill a man, you grapple to the ground and you can live, you can land very easily. But the biggest feature, one of the biggest features of this game, aside from joining different factions and toppling the government, a corrupt government, as your main mission, is the fact that you use two things: your grappling hook and your portable parachute, that you can go to different places all throughout. But again, one of the main characters of this game isn't your weaponry, isn't Rico Rodriguez himself. It's the world. It's the open world places that he goes to. Just Cause 2 was a lot of fun. Just Cause 3 brings him back to where he grew up, Medici. And Just Cause 4 is where he avenges his parents' death, his father's death, because each one of these tends to have connected storylines. And the nice thing about it is the world is huge, as in there's lots of places to explore, lots of mini side quests to accomplish. But the one thing I like about the world itself, is how how it feels like it's a lived-in world, where you go to places and there's people wandering around, talking, having conversations. You find out about their daily lives, and then you see that they're living their lives, and there's places where they go to and business they conduct. And Just Cause allows you to not really interact with them, but kind of observe them from the point of view, because if they don't really react to you specifically because of your being there, but they do react to the chaos that you cause. One of the objectives of Just Cause is cause as much chaos as you can at the places that you're at, so that you can topple the government. There's factions that you can join, missions that you can partake in, and all these great vehicles that you can ride. Almost every vehicle there is a vehicle that you can ride in, use as a launch off point, and use your parachute to get to places that are normally inaccessible. Third person perspective, like one of Viraj's protests is Far Cry is a first person game that is involved in an open world. This one is a third person game where you can explore almost every single inch of the entire archipelago that you are involved in. Not all of the archipelago is instantly unlocked, but you can still get to it, and you can still get to them, and you can explore them, and until such time that you can overtake them and consider it as part of your territory. So yes, Just Cause 2, Rico Rodriguez's personal quest of vengeance, because he is a secret agent with a dark past. And another nice thing about it is the thing about the Just Cause series is that it is the polar opposite of what Miss Hinu said of the game that Miss Hinu had. Miss Hino had something with a lot of darkness and dreariness and goth feelings and depression and everything. Same with Drew. This one is a direct offspring of 80s and 90s action films. Lots of funny one-liners, lots of crazy action, lots of crazy stunts to accomplish. It's a joy to go through because of the fact that you enjoy not just the action, but also the fact that it is funny. There's a lot of funny one-liners. There's a lot of funny situations that you get into. Lots of banter between friends. It's fun in the most pure sense of the word for me because of the fact that I'm a kid of the 80s and I'm always looking for that one liner that'll just set the entire room off because everybody's having a good time. This is Just Cause, not just the Just Cause 2 and Just Cause 3. It is Just Cause the series. It is a 80s action film, and you are the hero. That is the very basic premise of Just Cause. I highly encourage anybody who is looking for something fun to play to give it a try because you are going to have lots of fun with it. It's often on sale on Steam and on GOG, and you might even find some nice old copies on PlayStation 3 if you are looking around for it. PlayStation 4 too. That is my recommendation of open world games. There's a lot of others that I can choose as runner-ups like Risen or Two Worlds, but this one takes the cake for me because this one is so much fun to play, and it is a joy to go through. Back to you, Drew.
Yes, thank you so much for that, Sir Joel. And fun is a very good description for Just Cause because you have the hook shot, just like in Bionic Commando, you have the hook shot and you have your parachute. These are two elements you could actually combine to interact with this world, and you could experiment with it. You could hook two things together, like for example, a car into a barrel or a car into a human being, and just see the chaos unfold. And
Absolutely, absolutely.
it's fun to experiment. It's one of the
Mm,
things with open world is
mhm,
experimentation, how certain aspects that you are given, certain gameplay aspects that you are
mhm.
given, and you test out how they interact with the open world. And that is something
Absolutely.
that's
Mm,
really makes it fun. It's just two things. Those are the two main things that Rico has. It's just the hook
mhm,
shot and the parachute and his guns. But hey, you're gonna have a lot of fun.
mm.
Something similar to this would be Sir Dan's recommendation, which is Sir Saints Row, or if you want the comedic aspect in a first person setting, I would recommend going for the
Mhm.
Borderlands series, which is a lot of one-liners also.
Oh, I forgot to
Anyway,
add a couple of things. I forgot to add a couple of things about Just Cause. In 3, they include the wingsuit. So you can basically fly anywhere you like, just get dropped off someplace and then fly to where you want to go. And on Just Cause 4, they added a backpack rocket. So you can propel yourself to where you want to go to. Also, for just for Jaw, this is developed by Square Enix too. This is a Square Enix game, so that is if you're bagging on Square Enix for Final Fantasy and you want to look for a good game that Square Enix is involved in, Just Cause is that
Tito
game.
Joel,
Not
Tito
not
Joel.
more Square
Mhm.
Enix taxes.
Yes,
Who
Omar.
needs the wings or the backpack that you're saying if you can ride the plane like a horse,
That is
right?
very true. That is very true. You can grapple onto a plane, ride that, and then use the plane as a kamikaze weapon against one of the one of the headquarters. Yeah, it's doable. And like Drew says, you can grapple two things together, like two gigantic gas tanks, and make them come against each other and cause a gigantic explosion. It's so much fun. It's so chaotic, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. Plain and simple.
I
Just
I I, I
casino.
can't imagine the development side of this game because you mentioned about grappling two items together to create like chaos.
Mm.
Imagine the coding side. Just the technicalities of it.
Oh
I
yeah.
can't imagine it as well as the verticality of the game.
Mm.
Normally on open world, the highest point would be the top of the tower, the top of a mountain. But
Yes.
here, you can
Mm.
reach the clouds,
Mm.
and I think that's
Absolutely.
insane. the
It's true.
verticality really looks insane. So
It's true. It's true.
I, I want to try it.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
Highly
I've
recommend
already played the Square Enix, so what's a little more?
it.
There goes two JRPG fanatics hearing Square Enix and going, more money put towards them.
Yeah,
I'm
there
gonna
you
spend some more
go.
money on Square
I mean, heck,
Enix.
you grapple, you find a cow roaming around, you find a guy wandering around the other side, you grapple them together. You're best friends now. There you go, something like that.
Right. I want to see that.
All right, Lucky
Yeah,
Drift.
it's a fun game. It's a fun game. So if there's nothing else from the panelists regarding Just Cause, it's really chaotic, it's really fun. Keyword is fun and experimentation for this series. Anyway, with open world games, there's a certain aspect that would make the open world more fun. And that aspect is the travel aspect. How you get from one point to another point, how enjoyable it is to be able to explore the world that you are given with. It and regardless of how open a certain world is, if you're not having fun traveling around this particular open world that you have, it's not gonna be as much fun. It's gonna be actually quite taxing. So for the next game that would be presented by our good friend Sir Biraj, the keyword on his game is all about being able to travel fast. So Sir Biraj, show us your open world game.
The open world game that I'm going to talk about is totally different to the ones that you've mentioned. Mine was more for a younger audience, you could say. And that game is Sonic Frontiers. And that's multi-platform release, developed by Sega, in-house by Sega. Came out in 2022, so it's still being installed today. Yeah, it's their first. Sonic has had a checkered past because he started off as a 2D platformer. Then when he entered the world of 3D, he's had a sort of love you hate you kind of relationship with his fans. Sonic Adventure came out on the Dreamcast, as we know, and people loved that game, even though the camera angles made it very hard to control Sonic. And I think that's something that Sonic has always been plagued by, if we're being honest. With Sonic Frontiers, on the other hand, this is Sonic's first ever true open world adventure. With Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, and even Sonic Heroes, the levels were very linear based. Yes, okay, you had like a little hub world, and then you'd fly into a level, etc. And that's where you jump into a level, and that's how the Sonic Adventure games would work. However, this thing, no, it's a whole world that you're in, and you can see you've got the water there, you've got these amusements that he's getting, these little obstacles that he's having to go through. And basically the story is there's been a dimensional shift of sorts. Sonic's friends have gone missing and Sonic has to go and find them. And each world is its own open area. Each one of the islands that he's on has its own area. I believe this is like the second island. I can't remember the name of it. And it has a lot of action adventure elements as well as action RPG elements. Sonic actually levels up in this game. So that might be one thing that's interesting to Sir Joe. And you collect certain emblems in there, which you got a red one. I think you get a green one, a blue one as well. And one of them can make him go faster. And one of them can also give him more defense skills or whatever. So he does level up and he gets different move sets as well as he levels up. So he can do certain attacks that when you push the buttons in a certain sequence on enemies. So that's really good. But yeah, the game is literally Sonic exploring these islands, getting these emblems, etc. And the emblems help to unlocking his friends. And his friends, like his first friend was Tails. His first friend was Amy in the first level, and I think it's Tails in this level, and maybe Knuckles. And the idea is you're meant to get enough of these emblems to unlock them from these bubbles that they're trapped in. And then the story develops because there's this creation that Dr. Robotnik, because he's involved in this as well. I don't want to sort of spoil the story. That sort of is an antagonist to Sonic, but also aids Sonic later on in the game when she sort of sees that he really is a hero and he really is there against all odds, trying to save his friends and bring back these islands to their original formation, because obviously there's been a dimensional rift that has caused these things to fall apart. Now, there are a number of challenges in this game, and the key thing I want to focus on when talking about this particular game and where it differentiates Sonic from all the other 3D adventures, it actually works. One of the biggest problems that I mentioned earlier was Sonic being able to control Sonic in a 3D environment has been next to difficult, because the camera angles are all wrong. As you can see here, the camera moves behind Sonic. It's with Sonic. You can see him. You see where he's going. You can control him. When you do the moves, you will actually see him do the move, and you'll be able to direct your controller to where you want Sonic to jump. The controls are incredibly intuitive, and that again brings a lot more joy when playing this game. And you get better each time you play, because you understand the button layout. You understand which buttons you need to push a combination of to, get better. To make sure you can pull off certain moves. I think in the video you saw Sonic pick up a medallion, and after you collect enough of these medallions, or whatever they are in every world, you'll be able to unlock certain gateways. And in the gateways, there are levels called cyberspace. Now, cyberspace is basically those 2D platformer levels that you sort of see in Sonic games. But so you haven't lost that 2D element of gaming. You still have that in the Sonic game. And in those levels, you can collect up to 5 tokens. And when you get those tokens, again, you can unlock these aids to unlocking the characters in the levels. And then also you get the Chaos Emeralds as well. And you get, I think there's about 7 in this world map you have to collect. So there's a number of things you have to collect. And you can say it's a bit of a fetch quest to unlock certain aspects of it. And where it's open world is, yes, you can collect all the Chaos Emeralds and fight the boss, but what you'll find the boss to be a bit tougher. If Sonic doesn't have all these emblems he's collected, or he hasn't leveled up, or whatever, it'll be very difficult to knock off the HP of the bosses if you go straight to him. So you have a choice in this game. Do you want to just go straight to the boss, or do you want to level up Sonic, or do you also want to rescue his friends? Do you want to do all these side missions? Because there's a lot of things you can unlock to 100% of the game. So this game has tons and tons of replay value. So even if you've gone through the game once, you want to get 100% score, you can go on these little side aspects and, unlock it. Another really cool thing about this game is there's fishing involved. Yes, there's fishing in Sonic Frontiers. That will probably
fishing again.
Fishing in Sonic Frontiers, and you get the caddies introduced, and in there you can go fishing and again collect other things. So there you go. But yeah, you have, again, this is a boss fight that Sonic's in, and obviously mini bosses in the stage. You can pull off certain moves, and again, you can see hit points and whatever. And there you go, you take them up there, and you collect these icons from the bosses, etc. And those tokens will help you aid to get into cyberspace. So basically, it sounds more complex than what I've laid it out to be in terms of it being a fetch quest and things like that, but it's quite straightforward. My only critique with this game, having played through it, is when you get halfway through the game, like this particular level, it was a bit of a grind. But when you get really strong and you level Sonic up to be so powerful when it comes to facing the boss, and you can overdo it, when you get past the halfway point of the game, Sonic is so strong that the 4th level boss will appear to be easier to fight than the 3rd level boss. And when you get to the last level boss and you fight him, he's quite straightforward. So you can overdo it, and I think the pacing was a bit off. But I really love Sonic Frontiers, and I do think it's the best 3D Sonic game that they've made because it actually works. And it's a step in the right direction that Sega did with this. It's actually sold 3.5 million copies worldwide, which is nothing compared to the games that you mentioned. I think Elden Ring did like 17 million or something like that. But in the scale of what this is, that's actually impressive, since Sonic Adventure did 2.5 million units on the Dreamcast. So this is actually a step up from a successful Sonic 3D game, which I thought was mediocre, but a lot of people love Sonic Adventure for whatever reason. But yeah, it's got little cut scenes in it. It's got little cut scenes in there, so that's in the story as well. So it follows on the story. And what I like about the game as well is there is a plot to it as well, which obviously you can't see here. You see more gameplay. But you do follow a story, and that keeps you engaged with the game, because you're like, oh, what happens next? Okay, so we've freed Amy Rose. We're on this other island with Tails. And then you see this obscure character come out of nowhere, talk about something. And, there's little cutscenes like, okay, so what is actually going on? Because you are left in wonder as to what has happened and why all these worlds are so fractured and you have to fix them. But yeah, that's basically Sonic Frontiers is what Sonic Adventure should have been, and it's a step in the right direction. The only problem is it's too many years too late. It's like everybody who loved Sonic then have grown up now, and maybe they don't care so much about this game. I mean, it did well doing what it did, but it could have been so much better if it had come out many years earlier when there was a hype around Sonic. The problem is Sega had created these mediocre, if not poor, Sonic games in between this and the other ones, and people might have lost his momentum. But I think Sega needed this win, and they did well with it, but it could have been more successful had it been released earlier or been made earlier. So that's all I really have to say about this. But listen, it's a game that your kids can play. It's the only one that your kids can play that's been mentioned here. What is it, a 7+ game? So you can play. Anyone can play this game. But yeah, that's really my thoughts on Sonic Frontiers. My only regret is when I beat it, I deleted it from my library because I obtained it digitally. But now there's some DLC now. So originally you could only play as Sonic, but now you can play as Tails, you can play as Amy and Knuckles. So I'm like, great, now I've deleted the game. But you have DLC that's free. You can add to your game, and it'll make it so much more worth it. And right now, if you want to play this game, it's quite cheap, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, that's for sure. And that's really
I heard fishing.
about this
Yeah.
I heard fishing. I'm adding it to my cart now. Okay.
As from what I have seen, sorry.
No, go ahead. No, I was referencing to the Joel.
Yeah.
I'm actually really focused on the gameplay because me with Sonic and Sonic being the what do you call, I'm really thinking of a nice word, but being the spin-off core that he is, he's the same as Mario because they keep doing spin-off after spin-off after spin-off. But for all the genres, I think open world would really fit Sonic because of how fast he is. And I was really focused on watching the gameplay on this because I have been imagining if the gameplay is intuitive enough, is it smooth enough, or something along those lines. Because as with what Sir Biraj has said, Sonic has been a hit and miss when it comes to his games lately. And the last Sonic game that I think I've enjoyed was probably Mania, and before that it was probably the NDS JRPG, Sonic Chronicles, Brotherhood,
yeah.
Dark Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the title. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, is it as intuitive? Is it fun to go around the world, Sir Biraj, when it comes to Sonic Frontiers?
It's so much fun because it truly is open world, because you have tasks you need to do, and there's certain targets you need to sort of get. So obviously you need to obtain this to get into cyberspace to then unlock the Chaos Emerald. So there is a methodology to it. It's not just all over the place. There is a structure to this game, but there's like for example, there was this task that I couldn't do, or I couldn't reach a certain area, and I thought, I can't do this. I don't have the skill yet. I'll come back for it later. But I can see there's a medallion on the other side of the map that I can go to. I'll go get that first. So you have options. And then when I unlocked a certain moveset, then I could get that. So there's a lot of choices that you can sort of do in this game. And in terms of how he controls, sorry, to answer your question, in terms of how he controls, yes, like the controls are so intuitive, and you can control him. I know it seems fast looking at it, but he's easier to control in this game than any 3D Sonic game that I've ever played. In fact, to be blunt, this is the best Sonic 3D game they've ever made. Yeah, and you're right that Sonic games haven't been good. Like Sonic Forces was atrocious before this, and I think when they made Sonic Frontiers, they're like, great, this is a step in the right direction. Sonic Mania was good as well, and that is another great. That's probably the best of the 2D Sonics, and I'd say this is the best of the 3D Sonics. I know they then released Sonic Superstars, which is also a very good Sonic game as well, which is a 2D game that was released on Switch and I think all the other consoles as well. And now they're going to create Sonic Generations X Shadow, which is going to be released soon. And Sonic Generations was actually also another very good Sonic game, to be fair. So they're capitalizing on Sonic games that really were good for what they were. But Sonic Frontiers is probably the best Sonic game in modern times, and I do hope that they continue with this formula and they create a Sonic Frontiers 2, because it makes sense for them to go ahead with this, to continue with this formula, because it works in 3D. This is actually like I said, the best Sonic 3D game for sure. I mean, yes, there have been Sonic Colors, Sonic Generations, but
I'm glad you actually vouch for this game, because I had my reservations. I didn't know what the general consensus was for this game, especially to old school Sonic fans. And as I was looking into the trailers when it first went out, I wasn't on my head. Sonic is still like the old school side scrolling, everything is vibrant. So seeing Sonic in a more realistic world, and he's alone. I know this is ironic coming from someone who just promoted Elden Ring earlier, but like I wasn't used to this vast openness, and also coming from a technical standpoint again, I can't imagine the game design of how they crafted this game.
Yeah.
Sonic is really fast, so how do you even imagine what kinds of platforms he's gonna go to, what hoops, the verticality, the linearity?
This is the genius behind this game, to answer the question, which is, so you got the whole open world environment. He's just fighting a little mini boss here. You got the open world environment, and he can go as fast as he can through it when he's traveling through it. So there's your speed, right? But when you get to a junction area, like where there's a bunch of platforms in this environment, the game does this really interesting thing where the camera angle pans a little differently, and it's like Sonic is designed it's weird how they've done the controls. Like the engine is sort of altered so you can jump on those things easy, so it slows him down to be the platform a bit, which makes sense. Obviously, you want Sonic to get faster, and the more rings you collect, the faster he gets, because the map is so vast. You want to get to A to B as quick as possible. If you're aiming for something, you don't be like running at a slower pace. So he will get faster as you level him up, and his capacity to carry rings will also get bigger when you unlock those features. For example, so this is a boss fight that he's fighting, and there's a technique as well. So there's a number of buttons you have to push. There's like areas you have to aim or whatever, but there's also special attacks you can pull off as well. And as you can see in the top left-hand corner in the heads-up display, he has a ring count up there. So he's collecting rings, and obviously he's down to 15, so he's really weak now. And I think to pull off attacks, the rings is the currency or whatever, and I think he's running low on them. But yes, you can do all sorts of combinations to take him out, and his hit points or whatever, and that's how you beat the bosses. But so going back to his speed or whatever, and the way he controls, it's like the engine changes depending on the scenario. So if you're fighting the boss, Sonic is different. When you're going on the platform, it's a bit different. When you're going from the whole open world area, it's different. When you go into cyberspace, you're playing those 2D levels again, and we haven't really seen it in this demo. That there are 2D levels, with obviously 2.5D levels, I should say, in cyberspace, which does retain that classic 2D vibe. So whether you're a classic Sonic fan, whether you're new to Sonic, or someone who likes open world games like even Elden Ring, you could definitely give this game a go. It's definitely something that I think you'll appreciate and enjoy. Like I say, it's the best Sonic game, but I don't know. In all fairness, this is a very unique game for what it is. So you may like it, you may not like it, you may find it to be a bit of a grind halfway through like I did. But like I said, the only criticism with this game is that the balance is off, in the sense that it gets the hardest in the middle of the game. And then because you overcompensate for when it gets really hard, you make Sonic really strong by collecting all these, aids to make him level up. And once he's leveled up, he becomes so powerful. Later on in the game, you can actually get through it a lot easier. That's my only critique with this game. So it's increased his speed level. So he's leveling up by talking to that thing, by trading something over. So you can increase your speed and your ring capacity. And they're the two things that you can do on here when doing this. But there's other attacks that you'll also unlock as well. But yeah, pretty solid game, I would say.
Well, just to say one thing for this game, I think Sonic is have more sense on a stage of open world like this than on a platformer, because you can see what Sonic's potential, like his powers and stuff. Fighting bosses. If you're playing it on a platformer is gonna be left and right. Just stomping on the boss. That's it. But here you can see what Sonic can do.
I think
Yeah.
you're right. You're absolutely right because you've got the camera angles, like because you've got that vast environment, and Sonic can only work in 3D in an open world environment after playing this game. Like Sonic Adventure, I've played Sonic Generations. I think Generations and Colors, they're the best 3D games got with Sonic in the past, if we're being honest. Because Sonic Frontiers also let you have 2D levels, and the 3D levels are actually quite well done. But again, they slowed him down to make it work. In this game, Sonic can go fast. That's the beauty of it. He's known for his speed, but also you have all these sort of like fun parts in the levels where you can jump up, you can fly, you can. This is such a joy controlling him. So you're absolutely right. I mean, personally, I think Sonic will always be. I'll always prefer him in 2D because that's what I grew up with playing on the Mega Drive games. I always like a 2D adventure with Sonic. That will always be my thing. But I think this is, in my opinion, this Colors and Generations are like the only good, like really good 3D Sonic games. This is a world apart from Generations and Colors, in my opinion. This is like the direction Sega should take Sonic in, and there should be a Sonic Frontiers 2 or a game with this kind of engine because they've created this from scratch. All they need to do is just make it a little bit better. I always thought that the game could have had probably a bit more content in it because it is vast for what it is. But that's just a minor thing. In all fairness, you could say, actually, you know what, Viraj, this game has enough content on it. The only thing is that the worlds are so big, they're just so far apart. But it's such a complex game for me to even describe because it's just something you have to play because there's something I've forgotten. But there are just so many little things in there. There are just so many little collector's items and things in there, a lot of Easter eggs, if you like, the original Sonic games. It also links the story of the Sonic the Hedgehog games on the Mega Drive because there's a lot going on. But if you know, you know. But definitely a game you can pick up on the cheap and enjoy. And it probably will break up something that you're playing as well. But what I did find when I played this game is I kept going back to it. It kept me interested, and it took me about 6 weeks to beat because obviously I was busy working at the same time. And it's a game that kept me wanting to go on. Like I said earlier, I regret, and I immensely regret deleting it just to free up space on my Switch because there's DLC now and I can play as the other characters. So again, extra replay value. You can play with Knuckles and Tails and Amy and all their powers because they play differently to Sonic. And that's really cool as well. Obviously, the downside of this game is it's not multiplayer, it's single player. But then again, you know, that's not that big a deal. But again, a game I think a lot of people will enjoy. And it's a game that young people can get into as well. But yeah, give it a go, guys. That's what I'll say. It's very easy to get.
Yeah. And when it comes to Sonic or anything Sega related, we could always count on Sir Barrage and Sir Dan to always be able to show us the way that Sega does what Nintendo.
I thought for a second, open world games, what business do I have to be on this podcast? Because I don't really play a lot of them. But this is one that I played recently. And I'm thinking, well, will they even count this as an open world game? It's a Sonic game, right? I'm thinking, well, no, it's the first ever world Sonic game, and it deserves the respect of me talking about it because I really enjoyed playing this game. I didn't think I would enjoy it because it's 50-50. Like, you flip a coin when a new Sonic game comes out. Is it going to be good or is it going to be bad? This one is really good. So I have to talk about it. And I feel it would be disrespectful to because they created this from scratch. They didn't borrow any assets. Like Sonic Forces, they obviously borrowed assets from previous Sonic games. This is something they've made efforts and they spent millions building it from the ground up or whatever. And then they obviously spent more money perfecting it because when they went out and they said there were problems with it, they went back to the drawing board and redid it. So it's had a lot of effort poured into this game and you can see where it is. But it plays differently. Its aesthetic is different to all the other Sonic games. It's the way it just looks. It doesn't even look like a Sonic game. It looks more mature. When we saw the demos of this, it looked like Breath of the Wild. That's what we said. Sega went in the direction of Breath of the Wild. What are they doing with this? Are they trying to make their own version of Mario Odyssey? You know, because obviously Mario Odyssey is quite a big Mario game. And obviously this doesn't compare to Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey is a 3D platform that is immensely enjoyable to play. This has an action RPG spin on it, and that's one thing that surprised me. I've never seen Sonic in an action RPG environment, and that's another thing as well. Not as the open world, even though it's action adventure, it's got action RPG elements. He levels up. Obviously, Sonic and Chronicles Dark Brotherhood is a different type of RPG on the DS, and that's great by BioWare. But this has so much in it. There's so much detail in this game in terms of how well it's been engineered and tailored, and why Sega really tried to put a lot into it. And when Sega were making this game, they were in trouble before it was even released because of how bad Frontiers had done and how previous games they had done. They needed this, and this was the first step for them winning. Then obviously they've gone on and they're going to resurrect some of their older franchises on the back of this. So I'm sure you saw Crazy Taxi, the new Crazy Taxi Jet Set Radio.
Yeah. I forgot about that, and I'm excited for that one. And that's Crazy Taxi.
The Breath of Fire series from
Capcom.
what company?
Capcom, Breath of Fire. And
So-
for Sega, it's always Fantasy Star and Shining Force. And
So they're bringing back-
yeah,
To bring back their franchises. So we saw 4 of them.
yeah, they should.
That's why the retailer are invested in some of the Dreamcast games.
Other people are actually trying to do it for them, like with Jet Set Radio, Jet Grand Radio.
Yeah.
There's Cyberpunk Bomb, something that looks really, really similar because they're not doing it, so other people are doing it. Anyway, awesome choice from Sir Barrage. And actually, I think for most of us, this is on our cart. We just haven't checked it out yet because
What?
we're so
What is the meaning of this? What is wrong with you
I'm
people?
cheap. I'm cheap. I still have a lot of backlogs, and when it comes to Sonic, I could count on Sonic to be on the bargain bin. As amazing as Sonic is, I could count on his games to be on the bargain bin
I mean, that's really sad.
sooner or later. So that's why
Don't-
I'm holding back on it, because I'm cheap. That's the only reason. I'm not
It's sad because it's
I'm not
true.
throwing shade on Sonic. It's just I'm very cheap. Okay.
No, it's not. No, it's true, because the truth is, I'll give you an example. When Mario Wonder came out for Switch, and then you saw Sonic Superstars come out, and they were both 2D platformer games. Which one do you think I'm going to buy first? Obviously Mario Wonder, because I know that's going to take forever to depreciate. Whereas Sonic Superstars, I think it's already gone down 50%. I can get that.
Yeah. That's the same. That's my same reasoning.
As a brand, it will hold its value. And I think I knew somebody who paid £60 for Sonic Superstars on the first thing, but he goes, it was worth the money. And that's actually quite reassuring that he bought a Sonic game and he really liked it. And I said, okay, that's good to know, Sega Head. I appreciate it. He's a YouTuber. But the fact of the matter is, and even he knew it would depreciate, but he wanted to support Sega, which is fair enough. But no, you're absolutely right. But look, the game has appreciated. Okay, the game is cheap to get. Get it because it's worth buying and it's worth playing because it's a good Sonic game. It's a good, well-engineered Sonic game. Okay, and the level up system leaves a bit more to be desired because, like I said, the grind is in the middle of the game and then it gets quite easier. But in terms of joy, I enjoyed unlocking all the little bits there. I enjoyed unlocking the elements of the story because you want to know what happens left because there's a mystery. The story is the other big part of the game, which I haven't really touched on because that's what makes it really interesting. Like, what is happening here? What's going on? Because there's a bit of confusion. But I'm not going to say any more than that because I don't want to spoil the storyline in the game. But it's quite a good one that they made. And I respect Sega for trying to push this game to its limits and trying something different with Sonic Frontiers. And I hope that they continue this, make this a tradition in Sonic 3D games because they've actually made a good Sonic 3D game that works really well. They just need to tweak it a bit and change a few elements. And I hope to see a Sonic Frontiers 2. And that's something I'd probably buy day one, if I'm being honest, because I like Sonic Frontiers that much. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the game.
Okay. And
Okay, sold.
Okay.
sold. And I don't think anybody can sell this game more than Cerberaj did. Anyway, I think I would be proceeding with my choice for this evening. And before we go to Sergio, and this is actually the game. The reason why I actually recommended this to be the topic for tonight's episode. And I have been enjoying open world games for quite some time. There's Infamous, there's Prototype, there's mostly superhero games. Spider-Man, I think Spider-Man 2 for the PlayStation 2 was one of those games that actually made us feel what a real open world would feel like, besides San Andreas, by the way. But for us geek comic book nerds, those are that's the game that actually made us feel, oh, there is a possibility this type of game from our imagination could be a possibility. So I went and played Infamous. I really enjoyed Infamous 1 and 2, so I do recommend those games. Enjoyed Prototype, but as I'm saying this, the game that I'm actually gonna be recommending is something more grounded to reality. I'm not saying that everything about this game is so realistic. It's just a little bit more grounded. And the game that I'm gonna be sharing the world with is a game made by Sucker Punch. So this is a new IP when it was released from Sucker Punch. It is such an amazing game. It is, in my personal experience, this is the best open world game that I have experienced. And so this is entirely my opinion. It's not. I'm not saying this is the best open world game in existence. I'm just saying it's the best open world experience that I have experienced. That it this game made me do a platinum for the very first time. This is my first platinum game. Um and this game is Ghost of Tsushima. So Ghost of Tsushima, the latest IP from Sucker Punch, set in the island of Tsushima during the Mongol invasion. And this both technically wise, aesthetically wise, gameplay wise is was a perfect experience for me. I really, really love this game so much. It made me collect all of the collectibles in this game. The HUD, the HUD. When you first get into your horseback, when you go through that environment, it looks really, really beautiful. Not just artistically, but it pushed the limits of what the PlayStation 4 could offer. I'm not throwing shade at Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn also pushed the limits of PlayStation 4. Also a great open world game, or also a very beautiful game to look at. But for me, Ghost of Tsushima is a far better experience personally, because they designed this game for you to be cinematically it's a cinematic experience, because they reduced the HUD so much that the trackers, the things that the markers are the wind. The markers is a fox that you would actually follow to find a hidden through a hidden path, to through something hidden. You would actually pay attention to everything on the environment on this game, that it is so immersive. It's such a cinematic experience that I really, really enjoyed my playthrough with this one. I really like its mini games. The mini games that would make you stronger. So right now you could see here the gameplay. It's only during the battle where you would see a HUD, a user, a user interface on there. But when you're exploring the world, it's just you on the horseback, soaking in the scenery. And each of the regions, the islands of this particular game, there's a bottleneck on there. But when you change into a region to the next region, there's actually a huge difference on how it is presented. It is an adventure. And one of the reasons why I also like open world games is like, for me, it's like a Metroidvania set in a 3D environment, because you get power ups so that you could continue your playthrough or go back to your previous sections using certain power ups or certain mechanics that you have just recently discovered, to be able to get access to certain things that you saw earlier that you were not able to access before, because you can somehow not reach it. And also, the way you approach combat on this particular game, there's actually two styles. You could actually go gung ho as a samurai, and start dueling everybody on site, or you could go all tenchu on this and be sneaky. Use all of your tools, like tools of to distract your enemies, or tools to like you have your arrows, you have your bombs, your smoke bombs. There's the combat. It's also very fluid. That's why it's a very enjoyable experience, both in exploration and in combat. And albeit I am praising its mechanics a lot, the the story, well, the story, it's not that innovated, but it's compelling enough for you to finish through it. And it's how do I say it without spoiling it? Anyway, it's not a very surprising story. It's Mongols invading. You're trying to free the island of Tsushima, and you have your uncle as the other main character on the story, besides the Khan that is trying to occupy the Tsushima Islands. And there is even a Kurosawa mode where everything would be black and white for those connoisseurs who like old Japanese samurai films. So you get a certain type of immersiveness for this game. But overall, it is an amazing cinematic experience of a game, through its art style, through its combat. It's a nice game to be able to at least play once if you're into samurais, if you're into the Japanese aesthetic. If you are looking for the definitive Assassin's Creed set in Japan, this is the game that you are looking for. I know Shadow's gonna be released, but we don't know what that's gonna be. A whole lot of controversy for that. But Soccer Punch outdid themselves with this particular game. In my experience, this is the best game out of Soccer Punch that I have ever experienced. I really do recommend this. If you're new into the open world genre, do check out Ghost of Tsushima. It's a nice fluid game. And by the way, the load time on this game is so fast. You would have thought that the PlayStation 4 was running on solid state drive. It's so fast that they even lowered down the load time when you're fast traveling, because they want the gamers, the players, to be able to read the battle tips on there. That's why they lowered it down. So I really do recommend Ghost of Tsushima. And also, it I have experienced the most emotional death on this. For I'm not gonna elaborate more on that certain aspect because the spoiler territory, but I experienced one of the most emotional in-game deaths on this game from yeah. Anyway, that's got it at that. So really do recommend Ghost of Tsushima. So um for our panelists, have you played this game? What are your thoughts about Ghost of Tsushima from Sucker Punch?
I want to
It,
play it.
it it's good. Yeah, it's good. I've played it before. It's really good, but I didn't just have the time to to get into it because that's a long game. That's a
It
really
is.
long game. Yeah, it's a really long game.
It is.
There's a
And
guy I used to work with that was talking about this game passionately a couple of years when he was like, I want to get Ghost of Tsushima. She was like obsessed with this game. I looked into this and I was like, oh, right. So this is basically an evolution of what Tenchu was, basically, and that
Yeah.
style. That's basically what's happened. It's like Tenchu, or even before that, we had the original Revenge of Shinobi and all that, obviously, when it was 2D. And obviously, they've evolved from Tenchu and going forward. Tenchu was always the original, as far as I'm concerned. But obviously, you had Ninja Gaiden and all that. And it's that style. But obviously, this is an evolution of that genre in an open world context. And it's just so immersive. And if you love that sort of stuff, this is definitely for you. It's definitely for you. Yeah. Looks like a
At,
great game. You just have to have time
at,
for it.
at this time, for us, from my point of view, for my opinion, this is the penultimate Japanese game that's made by a Western developer. That's why there was a meme wherein Sucker Punch outdid themselves in creating a very Japanese game, wherein Elden Ring developer from software made a very Western game. So that's the meme on that one. I was actually quite bummed that Ghost of Tsushima did not win Game of the Year. I think it was against Last of Us 2. If
Mm.
I remember correctly, it was
Correct.
against Last of Us 2. Was it? I'm not sure which game won Game of the Year when Ghost of Tsushima was released, but I was really rooting for Ghost of Tsushima to win that one, and
Yeah.
it
God of
opened me
There's
War.
a
to.
number of games that is like Ghost of Tsushima. It's Sekiro is one of them. Sekiro is nice.
Yeah,
Sekiro.
yeah,
That's
the
yeah.
the Souls like rhythm game, as
Right.
what they call it.
Mm.
because because it's an entirely different Souls. Is
It's like the Ghost, but Sekiro is not that kind of open world. It's very
mm,
linear. Uh, you, you can go left and right, but they teach you to go forward.
Yeah, and I think that's why they chose to do an open world setting with Elden Ring so
Mm.
that more people would be able to uh tackle the games with much
Mhm.
more freedom and more people would actually enjoy Elden Ring. But for an entry game into the open world series, I would really highly recommend Ghost of Tsushima. And
As
Right.
as as someone
yeah.
who's I've said this time and time again to the others that I'm not someone who's really a fan of like the feudal Japan or like the ancient Japan, the olden times, and even in whether it's anime, whether it's shows or whatever, or in games. But um, aside from Muramasa by Vanilla
Ah,
Ware, uh, I wanna play Ghosts because it looks gorgeous.
it
It
is even for a
Mhm.
PlayStation 4. It is.
Mhm.
I don't know if there are any other um setting games that are set in Japan that is as open world as
Uh,
Ghosts. So that I got really intrigued, but mostly because it just looks really
yeah.
gorgeous.
I think it looks much better on PC, right? Because of
Yeah,
the
I
ray
think
tracing.
so. Yeah,
The ray
yeah, I
tracing
thought
when the
so.
ray tracing came out, they didn't have to remaster everything, but ray tracing was doing its job. But I think it's much better on PC.
But for what the PlayStation 4 could do and what they did with Ghost of
Right.
Tsushima, I was really astounded, and it's such a huge thing for them to be able to push the PlayStation 4 to the
Right.
maximum limit it could have. So that's it for Ghost of Tsushima. And before we go to Sir Joe and his pick, um, I would like to emphasize that me and Hinu were not good Elden Ring players before the Elden Ring community comes out with their pitchforks and whatever they want to throw at us. We just enjoyed the game and use all the things in the game that the game has to offer to be able to finish it. We're not good at it.
Are we adding
We
are we
suck at
adding the Souls fans to our list of
it.
enemies aside from the Chrono Trigger fans and the
Yeah, yeah. Well, fans be passionate about their games, and especially with certain genres that has used to have few people. There's used to be a few people on the Soulsborne community. Anyway, I could not recommend Ghost of Tsushima to Sergio because there's not as much waifu on this game. There's not much that there is some waifu on this game, but they're like covered like suman or something along those lines. So cannot really recommend Sir Joe, but I do know that the game that you would be recommending for us has waifus. And would you care to tell us about your open world game?
I'm excited.
I mean, even Sonic
All
the
right.
Hedgehog waifus, if you like furries.
All
But
right.
go on, continue.
So okay. So my all right, guys. So
Sergio, Sergio,
my yeah.
Sergio, before you go on, I'm sorry. So there's someone here that keep on PMing me. If it is one of my friend before when I was working, in downtown Chicago. So
Mm.
he's trying to PM me, and then I was like, why not? Why don't you just talk here? His name is Jay. He's a good friend. We've been playing before, but we've been playing. I don't know if you guys know Star Citizen because he was like ranting what am I talking about? The open world World of Warcraft, the most open world is Star Citizen. That's what he's saying. So Star Citizen is not actually open world. It's open universe. So hi to Jay. Thank you for that. I didn't forget you. I didn't forget you. I didn't forget that game.
No, I
Okay.
mean he makes a good point though. The Star Citizen is very open world, but it's on a galactic scale
Yeah,
already.
it's a galactic scale.
Like,
It's much further. So that's another talk, Jay. So thank you for coming
yeah,
here and
actually, that
watching
might
us.
be a good topic. Star
Yeah.
Citizen,
No Man's Sky.
yeah, No Man's Sky, Starlink Battle for Atlas.
Right, right.
That might be a good topic for next time. But for now, let's
Yep,
have a look at Joe's choice of open world.
yep. Thank you for coming here, Jay.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Great to meet you.
For my entry for the open world games, so I chose Xenoblade Chronicles X for the Nintendo Wii U. And when these guys agreed to do the open world games, so I had to research because I'm an RPG guy. I'm a JRPG guy. To you guys who know me, and I'm like, okay, if I'm going to stay true to my character here, I need to play a JRPG that's open world. And the Xenoblade Chronicles, I am no stranger with Xenogears. I am no stranger to Xenosaga. However, this is my very first Xenoblade Chronicles game that I'm going to play, and I chose with X. And at first I thought maybe this is just a like a rehash of the first Xenoblade game from the original from the Nintendo Wii, and they said nope, it's an entirely different game apparently. So what about this game? All right, um, I only had a few hours of gameplay with this one, and I said, okay, if I am rooting for this one, I am just going to have enough gameplay hours just to see how much of it is an open world game. Like number one, how far can I go? Number two, how much free reign am I allowed to? So those were my criteria. And number three, and of course, how many tits and asses can I see in this game? All right. So, what's the story about? Basically, so in the distant future, all right, the Earth is in peril. Gaia, the spirit of Earth, can no longer. No, that's a different. No, that's a different plot. Okay, so planet Earth is in danger. There are a bunch of there's a bunch of alien life forms for some reason fighting above our atmosphere, and suddenly Earth became its target. It became so bad that Earthlings was like, "Oh shit, we cannot fight them any longer. Might as well just evacuate the planet." So, which they did, but not a lot of them escaped safely. So there's so for and one of the ships that one of the escape ships that survived the onslaught of these aliens coming from the United States of America. Ha ha ha! It's called the White Whale, i.e., for Sir Jomar here, white base. All right, white power. So so the White Whale, aka Moby Dick, It was roaming around you're roaming around outer space for 2 years. Okay, we're trying to find a new planet to settle in. What could go wrong? And like, surprise, motherfucker! The aliens were able to track them down, blew that ship. I'm like, oh shit. We need to crash land somewhere. Oh look, there's a random planet out there. Maybe we should land there. Okay, so the colony that inside that white whale crash landed on that planet, and I'm like, okay, this is basic. Uh, hmm. There's clean water here. There's atmosphere here. There's oxygen here. We can breathe here. Hey, let's call this our second Earth. They called it Mira. So the planet that they're inhabiting right now is Mira. However, they're still living on that colony that they have. And unfortunately, some of the remnants of the white whale, there are certain there are humans that are there are humans that who are living inside these life pods. Basically, it's like hibernation chambers, uh, um, like capsules, if you will. Unfortunately, they got scattered all over the planet. So your main objective, number one, survive there in that new planet that you have called Mira. Search for the surviving humans that were scattered around the planet. And number three, just live long and prosper, basically. All right. Okay, so that's basically the main part of it of the game. The game starts you off with a player character creation, and I suck at that. All right. I really don't like creating my own character. I pretty much like, if there's a main character, that's it. I'll just have to play that. I don't like creating my own character, but of course, I have to do it. The character creation here, not that very much detail. It didn't really took me it didn't take me a long while to create my own character. You can choose a guy or a girl to be your avatar. Surprise, surprise! I chose to be the girl. Okay, I chose to be I chose to be like 6'8", 6'9" kind of girl. And I'm like, oh, can I adjust the chest? Can I adjust the butt? Unfortunately, and however, I did find some cheats out there that you can adjust your bust size and your waist size and your thighs. I haven't tried it though, but I am curious now. All right, so I only had a few hours. I don't have a few days to play this game. I'm like, so I use those. So I just use those cheats so that I don't have to grind because I just want to have enough information about the game to discuss with you guys. So I just maxed out everything. I maxed out as much experience, levels, skills, all that shit. So I don't have to grind. So I can just get through on with the story. There's a good so this is a Seno game. So chances are you will have the chance to ride a giant mech, like a giant robot. I read it somewhere. They said, dude, the only time you're gonna get the chance to ride the giant robots is in chapter 6. At the time of this recording, I'm only managed to go to chapter 4. Why? There's so much shit to do. There's so much places to go just to get to chapter 6. Oh my fucking god! So there's so many this game has so many requirements for you to pass through before they can let you go on with the main story. So if the question here is how much free reign you get, the game says, okay, oh yeah, you have your main missions, but don't sweat it too much. You can do whatever you want. The game basically tells you can do whatever you want just because you have a main mission going on. You can just fuck that. You can just frolic around whatever side missions you want to go. If you want to grind, if you want to grind, if you want to kill all of the creatures that you see right in front of you, go on ahead. If you prefer gathering materials, raw materials scattered all over the field, you can do that. If you prefer swimming the sea, you can do that. If you prefer mountain climbing, just for the hell of it, you can do that. The game won't chastise you for it. So as much as as much as how far can you go here? There are so you can either explore the colony itself, or you can explore the outside world. That said, so within the colony, okay, let's talk about the colony. So within the colony, it's like you're playing it's weird. It kind of plays like a Grand Theft Auto game kind of thing. Like in the colony, there's the commercial area, there's the industrial area, and there's the residential area. Depending on which job class you're going to choose, you can have the opportunity to mingle around with the public, dealing with their daily lives, living inside the colony. Sometimes, like this, for example, I'm showing the footage right now. Some thugs doing some vandalism, doing some property damage, sometimes retrieving a lost cat, sometimes finding a lost person, all that stuff. Sometimes you're gonna go. You have a side quest working in a cafe, in a restaurant. I'm like, what the fuck? And then, all right. So if you're not an indoors person, you can go outside. Okay, what shit can you go? What shit can you do outside? All right. So I mentioned before, you can collect raw materials out there. These raw materials, you can use these raw materials to upgrade your equipment, your weapons as well. There are a lot of flora and fauna here. There are high mountains that you can climb. You just need to find the right pathway just to climb the hills and the mountains here. You can jump around as much as you can until the point that you can reach wherever mountains that you want to go. Oh, there's some rivers here, and there's an open sea, and there's also a lake inside the colony. And I'm like, okay, if I jump, what would happen if I jump? So inside the colony, so there's this big canal right there, right there. It's like I'm pretty sure it kind of looks like a hydroelectric dam. And I'm like, so I jumped through that. So I jumped through that. I'm like, oh shit, I'm swimming. Okay, so how the hell do I get back up? So it took me a while. It's possible to come back up. So I was able to I managed to swim around. I found a platform, and that platform eventually had some stairs going upward back to the residential area. Okay, that's cool. How about the outside? There's an open sea outside, and I'm already in a cliff. So I'm on a cliff. If I jump, what would happen if I jump? So I did. So I took a dive. I'm like, oh shit, I'm swimming. All right, cool. So and about this game, so apparently all of the characters here, for some reason, are very good swimmers. Okay, not so I haven't. So there's no character here who can't swim. They swim like Olympic swimmers. Like, so they swim like around 50 knots or something. So and I'm like, okay, so I'm swimming here in the sea. Okay, how far can I go? And I'm like, okay, I managed to run. So I managed to swim, and my character didn't drown. My character didn't get tired. I was able to reach the other island just by swimming. I didn't use a boat. I didn't even use a ship. I didn't use a flying aircraft. I didn't even. I was, because I'm still in chapter 4. I'm not even using a. I'm not even piloting a robot. I just reached the other side of the island just by swimming. So As far as open world games, as far as how far you can go, yeah. There's so you can run, you can swim, you can jump as high as you can. If you're able to get yourself like a giant robot for yourself, go on ahead. Oh, about the robot. Okay, so apparently you cannot just ride any robot just in chapter 6. No, 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 no. It's like buying a car. You can buy a car, you can own a car, because here you can buy your own mech, you can buy your own robot. However, you need a license to pilot that. So it's like buying a new car, but you can't drive it because you don't have a license to drive one. So apparently, to get your license in chapter 6, you need to accomplish certain tasks within the within the 8 job classes that are available in the game. So the job classes are like pathfinders, interceptors, defenders, stuff like that. So basically, you need to experience those 8 job classes just to take the requirements for you to become a full-fledged, like a robot pilot. The robots here, they call it scales. So scales are the robots here. Okay. In my playthrough, I choose all female characters because I'm a perv. I just want to see how far can I go. How far can I peek through the camera angles? How low can the camera angles go? And I'm not disappointed. Oh, speaking of camera angles, if there's one thing that's annoying me about this game, all right, it's the camera. It's how the camera angles follow you around. It's pretty jarring. For those it's really hard to describe unless you play it yourself. Um, if for everyone who's playing this, you know what I mean. The camera angles, it's not really fixed, and I tried different settings on the options menu just to keep the camera angle on a stationary level. But no, depending on where you run, depending on how you jump, the camera angles, for some reason, it keeps following you around in random. Um, what else can I tell you about this game? So yeah, there are certain. So you got your main missions, and you get your side missions as well. With the side missions, um, sometimes the side missions can sometimes be a requirement to get to your main mission, and there are a lot. In chapter 4 alone, there's at least 20 side quests that you can that you can choose from. And I'm like, okay, in this segment, okay, I'm channeling Miss I here. Ain't nobody got time for that. All right, I have no time, and I said, okay, if I have another week to play this game, okay, maybe I can get through. I can get through with those side quests, but no, I'm already in chapter 4. I'm not even sure if I'm going to touch this game again after this episode. Let's talk about the gameplay. Okay, so so we're showing you guys the footage of the gameplay. All right, so the opponents here can range to very small and very large opponents. Okay, they have their levels on top of their heads. Sometimes you have level 1. It can go to up to level 65. The level 65 ones, those are the very big monster, the very big creatures out there. When you roam around way too far, and they are scattered all over. So, and I'm like, so I already maxed out my characters, and I want to try my luck. Okay, there are big giant ass dinosaur looking like creatures here who are level 50 and above, 50 to 60 and above. I'm like, okay, let's see, because apparently you can only fight those big creatures with your robots in place. And I'm like, okay, let's see how far can I go with just with high level characters, just the humanoid characters. Nope, just one swing of the tail, I am dead. um, about this game, there are no multi saves. You only get one save file. That's it. So and it tends so it can auto save, and you can also manual save. That being said, like for example, if you die right there on the spot, it will take you to the last save point that you were in, obviously. um so like I said, this is my first Xenoblade game. So you got right there at the bottom of the screen. So you got 8 skills. No, y- not skills. You got 8 arts basically. Those are your like magic or special abilities that you can pull off. If you can, so if you manage to pull one off, there's a cooldown. There's a cooldown on each one before you can use it. You can use it again. By gaining experience points, by gaining skill points, you will be able to upgrade your skills for more proficiency, for less cooldown. Um, as far as I know, you got at least 20, 20, 20 arts slash skills to choose from. But you can only have 8 inactive when you battle. Um, so yeah, that's aside from that. You only your characters here also have some field skills. Okay, there are certain items. There are certain artifacts here scattered all over that you need to have the field skills or the architectural skills or um, the mechanic skills just to open them up, um, just to get the items inside those artifacts. And yeah, I can see why people can get really addicted to this game, to be honest. And unlike the games that the panel described earlier, in this game there's always something going on. You know what I mean? It, because for most of the games that you guys mentioned, except for World of Warcraft, this game feels very populated. If not for the people, there's always some creatures, and if way too many people inside the colony and way too many creatures outside of the colony. So it doesn't feel like you're all alone, just roaming around. Yeah,
All right.
that's it really. And one nitpick from me here. So apparently, there are so because these humans here are landed on Mira. Technically speaking, these humans are the aliens. The creatures they are the indigenous species here. The humans are the aliens at this point. And I'm like, okay, oh shit. There are other species here living in this planet. Also, once as humans dead, oh, they're speaking English. Why is that? Like, I mean, why am I talking to another alien life form here who can speak fluent English? And I thought, huh, maybe my characters have auto English translate. I don't know.
Yeah, so
The
it's like,
game didn't mention anything about that for some reason.
it's
It's
like
not like uh, it's
they
not
have
like the
a
aliens are speaking in Klingon. No,
they
not
have a
really.
translator. Like in Star Trek, they have universal translator translating in
No,
like
they
fast
don't.
translator
The game didn't mention anything about that.
They've
Well,
translated Michael.
well, you know what? Maybe they do. Maybe they do have a universal translator. They just didn't mention it. I mean, they have the ability for interstellar travel. Surely they were able to manage it with Google Translate or something. So
Yeah.
Google
Or they have
Translate.
C3PO.
I remember this game because it was one of the last Wii U releases. That was like one of the last big Wii U releases. Because as we know, the Wii U didn't succeed where the Switch has. But I remember a lot of people. Like, I had a friend called Lewis. He's like, Virad, can I borrow your Wii U? Like, why? There's a game I want. And like, what? And it's this game. He's really into this game because I like the Xeno games. I want to try this this particular game. I thought, no. All right, you can't do this. I'm not buying this game. It's not for me. I'm not lending you my Wii U because I love my Wii U. But there's a character called Shulk in here, and this game was such a big deal. They actually had a character in here in Smash Brothers. So because it had so much critical acclaim for the Wii U, and because people, I think the last hurrah for the Wii U was this game in Star Fox Zero, and that was it really. I think after that nobody really cared about the Wii U. And this game is actually quite affordable to buy. I just had a look at it on eBay. It's about £25. I can buy this easily pre-owned, and it's much less than it was on release. But I can sort of see this sort of maybe shooting up in price as time goes on. But yeah, it got really good reviews, this particular game. And it's quite a dense game. Like, there's a lot you can do with it. The reason I will never ever buy this game is I don't have the patience for it. But I can understand why someone like you would want to go for a game like this. That's for sure. So, no, very good. Maybe we should do an episode on the Wii. Then we could talk about Wii U. We haven't covered the Wii U yet on the show, and one day we will. But yeah.
In the footage, there's the Brontosaurus there that I was talking about. Another nitpick about this game, the female characters here look anime-ish, but the guys look Western, like
Realistic. Shit.
Western realistic kind of game. Which is
And
weird.
they have British accent.
They have, and some of them have a British accent, which is weird. Okay, and I'm like, okay, I'm not complaining anyway. I mean, I'm not using the guys. That being said, okay, let's just get this out of the way. The default characters here, all of them are wearing hard leather, like leather, skin tight leather. So for the girls, tits and ass on leather. Okay, for the guys, you can also see the bulges there and their asses in there in leather, skin tight leather. So whether you're a guy player, whether you're a girl player, or somewhere in between, okay, don't bother updating their equipment. Just let them wear their normal space leather outfits. You'd be fine. Just update their equipment, just their weapons, not their armory. You'd be good. You'd be staring their asses all the time when they swim, when they run, and they jiggle. That's all I'm gonna say. Like I said, I only managed to go to chapter 4, so I can't really tell you anything else aside from that. So this is how wild this game is. Okay, so I was trying to get to a certain place in the overworld map, and I'm like, I cannot find anywhere else to go. I'm having some trouble finding the right path just to go there, and I'm like, there's this waterfall in front of me, and according to the map, it's just right on top of that waterfall. I wonder, can I climb up? I wonder if I can climb up the hill, and then just jumping, just smashing the jump button so I can jump over the waterfall. And you know what? It worked. so I managed to ride to the cliff, to the side of the cliff, keep jumping, and then lo and behold, I managed to jump over the waterfall. I managed to get over the waterfall. I managed to reach the place that I'm supposed to go, and the game didn't glitch on me. You know how sometimes when something happened like that, the game kind of glitches. But no, the game is like, oh, ingenious! I didn't know you can do that. I didn't know I didn't know you can do that. Okay, so yeah, so just try your luck if you're playing this. Just try your luck. Just try to swim around, jump around, and eventually, with the rock, with the right places to go to, if you manage to find the right path, or as long as there are, footholds, as long as there are ledges that you can climb over, you're good. That's Xenoblade Chronicles in a nutshell, as far as I can tell you, as far as chapter 4 goes, anyway.
And I was trying to imagine how the character looked like when you were trying to jump on the water. Maybe you look like Magikarp flopping around the.
I wonder. I'm not sure if I managed to capture that because I'm showing you guys my gameplay. Actually, I don't think I
Oh,
managed
okay.
to. I don't think I managed to
So
capture
that's why
that
there's
for.
a lot of back with wiggling happening on the action. Is that
There's a lot of jiggling. Yes.
a lot of wiggling, a lot of jiggling, and it's a very Sir Joe style of video capturing. By the way, Sir Joe, just been wondering, this a little bit off topic. Have you played Stellar Blade?
I I have not played Stellar Blade yet. I've seen a lot of footages, a
That
lot of
game,
still footages, just
that game.
footages, a lot of looping images, looping for some reason. Um, like 30 minutes of the same angle. And I'm like,
That
hmm.
I think that game was made just specifically for you.
Stellar Blade is made specifically to the men of culture around the world for them to enjoy. Men and women of culture, dare I
Yes,
say.
and enjoy it. We did anyway.
Enjoy
Um,
enjoy it. Mm, mm.
anyway,
Wait, you mentioned Stellar Blade.
yeah, that's what I was actually gonna mention earlier during show and tell. So, by the way, guys, you're gonna love what Hinu's about to show you guys. But getting back to Sir Joe's game, um, one thing about Sen, there she goes.
There she is.
There she is. And let me explain it to you guys who are on our audio
Where's
side
the
of things, the one who
camera?
are listening to our audio version. She is actually showing the promotional standee of Eve from Stellar Blade. So that is her big, big acquisition during her birthday, and it's such an awesome acquisition, standee. So
Stellar
I
Ass.
think,
Stellar Ass.
yeah, that's the stellar ass right there. So she won
I was
big
going to
on that
ask,
one.
can you open the zipper?
You
Can you open?
and we could
Can you
always
pull the zipper all the way
count
down?
on Sir Joe. We could always count on Sir
Is it
Joe.
is it just the front or is the back also included?
I think
Just
the
the
back
front.
is for private eyes only, Sir Joe.
Ah, just the front only.
The
Ah, boo. Hmm.
oh, by the way,
At least let me do something about the front.
speaking about cheeks, but back cheeks. Have you seen the Deadpool controller, the latest one?
Let the
They
controller with his ass at the back. Yeah,
Yes, that's the one. That's the one.
Is
So
that real?
anyway. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that's real.
real. They're actually
Yeah,
gonna
that's real.
sell that, and I'm actually gonna buy one.
I thought it's just a meme. Holy shit.
No,
No,
it's
no, no.
real.
It's so very Deadpool.
Yeah, so very Deadpool, and that's one of the reasons why we love Deadpool. Um, by the way, Sir Jomar, Sir Joel, any thoughts about Xenoblade Chronicles X? For Joel's selection for this evening.
Well, I for one just hope that they do release it on Switch. I mean, so far all three Xenoblade
Same.
Chronicles are already on Switch.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that they release it on Switch as well. And it looks like it's a good game. I might play it if it actually does get re-released, but I'm not getting a whole Wii U just to play Xenoblade Chronicles X. Sorry, I'm not that rich.
Mm,
No,
totally,
Graphically,
totally
it,
same
it looks
statement.
really
if,
good. I was
if, I mean,
surprised.
Mm.
if there's two games that you want to play on the Wii U, if you're a JRPG player, to all of you JRPG players out there, if you want to play, if you're just planning to get the Wii U anyway, it's either you get Tokyo Mirage Sessions or the Xenoblade Chronicles X, because
And Tokyo
well,
Mirage
if you want to play
Sessions
it
is already
with
on
English,
Switch
We
and
already have
English
it.
everything.
Yeah,
support,
yeah.
with English
So
support.
It looks good. For me, it looks good. It looked like a near Automata and Monster Hunter. But
yeah,
I've seen it before, but I've never played Xenoblade. But it looks
for
good.
for people who has not played the Xenoblade Chronicles series, the closest the closest game I could actually compare the battle system to is Final Fantasy 12. That's the closest. The Gambit system is the closest battle system to what Xenoblade Chronicles as a series has. So it's basically auto battle. It's somewhat auto battle. You could still choose your
You can
arts.
choose. You can choose whatever,
You could
whichever
choose.
creature you want to fight.
Yeah, you could choose, but it's mostly playing on an auto system. It's like the Gambit system of Final Fantasy 12.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah,
so
it's
yeah. So about that, they will just attack. So you don't really mash your button just for them to attack. Uh, just let uh, just let them attack, and then as long as if you have a melee weapon, just stand close to the enemy, and they will just attack whenever. If you're using a long range weapon, they will just shoot their guns. That's it, really. But you
yeah.
can control though is your arts.
It's just a shame that it's still lack onto the Wii U. So yeah, we got Tokyo Mirage Sessions on the Switch now. We got Wonderful 101 on the Switch now. So I think almost around 90% of the Wii U's former exclusive games are already on the Switch. So just a few remaining titles that's lack onto the Wii U, which I do think Nintendo would actually try and experiment porting it to the Switch. Hopefully we do get a Xenoblade
The
Chronicles
the
6.
main problem that I see, the difficulty with that would be because you got two screens in there. You got your main screen on your television, and then you got the screen on your gamepad. The gamepad itself, there's so many things that you can do on the gamepad as well. That I don't think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be difficult to port everything from the gamepad itself to the Switch. They managed to do that with Tokyo Mirage Sessions, but with Xenoblade, basically you're looking at two screens here on your main screen and your gamepad. So
And it's
how
a
they're going to
Nintendo
manage to
title. They
cram
have
both?
all the resources and money.
Yeah, they were able to port 3DS and DS titles to the Switch anyway. So
The world ends
anyway,
with you.
we haven't played this one. So and that's the thing with about Xenoblade Chronicles X is you have to have a Wii U. You have to have a Wii U US version because the Wii U is region lock, and you have to
Yes,
have
it's
the
region lock. Yeah.
yeah, it's region lock. So it's a bit.
You know what? Thank God, because the first Xenoblade Chronicles X that I got it from Green Hills for 500 pesos
Oh,
US,
So
oh
that's a
shit.
win. That's a
Holy
huge
and I
shit.
tried,
win.
and I thought my Wii U was already region free through homebrew, but no, it did
Hmm.
not play it. And I'm like, thank God I got a PAL copy as well. So I'm playing my PAL copy.
So yeah, there's that. So if you're gonna go for this game, you would need a new console. Anyway, really time consuming game, and as you
It
have
is.
heard from Sir Joe,
It is.
really
Mm.
time consuming.
If you are into JRPGs, if you are into hunks, if you are into babes, if you're into
Oh my
tits and
god.
ass, bulges and
Stop.
ass, and you have nothing to live for. You have way too much free time. Okay, you play this. This is the game
Oh,
for you.
by the way, to our audio listeners, just in case you can, since you are not able to see how Sergio looks like for this evening, I think he thought this was the husbando episode, but because Sergio looks like a husbando right now, he looks like Kiryu. He is so swab right now, and look at what he's wearing. It's like he's gonna go and have a a date at the cabaret at four shine.
Actually,
So
I'm planning to flash someone.
yeah. So for the audio listeners, please do try to catch us live so that you could see the hunks of the Timeless Gamer Show. We already have Sir
Yeah,
Dan with his
between my outfit and Sir Dan's guns, yeah,
yeah.
you really should
You're
watch my
gonna
show
have the
live.
time of your lives. And that's it for our picks for this evening. And we are at the 3 hour and 46 minute mark. So I would be
Holy shit.
handling, yes, I would be handling the reins back to our TGSC uh I was gonna say seniors. Well, senpais. To our senpais. Sir Joe, thank you for having me as the host for this evening. And we do took a lot of the time to express our favorite world games. I was really happy to be able to share one of my favorite genres with you guys. So giving back the reins to Sir Joe, for the end of the evening.
All right, thank you for that, Sir Drew. Thank you for doing a good job. And yeah, I'm not surprised we ended up this long, considering the panel that we have and considering the games that we're going to describe anyway. So let's so we have no time to ain't nobody got time to do the honorable mention. So we'll just go straight to our shameless plugs. Let's go with Miss Hino. Miss Hino, where can they find you?
Um, you guys can find me at YouTube, Instagram, my Facebook page, as well as Twitter/X. Everything is Hinotora. That should make things easier for everyone. Thank you. Back to you.
All right, thank you for that, Miss Hino. Miss Hino. And Sir Jomar, where can they find you? We cannot hear you.
Same thing, same old, same old. Still Jomarot. On the all the platforms, I'll be there. Currently I've been playing World of Warcraft again. If you guys are wanted to try it for free, I'm planning of building a private server for it again because of my I would say my passion for the game. So yes, a new chapter on World of Warcraft will be coming this, I think, August or September. That's it.
Thank you for that, Sir Jomar. And how about Sir Joel? Where can they find you?
All right. As usual, you can always find me on twitch.com or on kick.com, streaming under Banyagang Native, hashtag FUFB. And I've been playing a few, again, open world games. I just finished Just Cause 4, and I'm planning on going through maybe a couple of retro games, like Lands of Lore, probably. I'm thinking about going through the Lands of Lore series 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, just check out the streams. I'll try to stream as much as I can whenever I can. But you know, you can always catch me here, also here on Timeless Gamers Show. All right, back to you, Joe.
Thank you for that, Sir Joel. And of course, the show captain for tonight, Sir Drew.
Yes, and this has been your Pinoy Otaku in Japan, but not in Tokyo, joining the Timeless Gamer Show. You could find me at my Facebook and on YouTube at Geek Out Gaijin. That's one word. I do unboxings, toy hunts, and some commentary on some certain topics that I would be interested in. Anyway, please do check out my channel and my page on Facebook for all the geeky things that I do find here in Japan. And that's it from this geek is out of here. Back to you, Sir Joe.
Thank you for that, Sir Drew. His YouTube channel, by the way, is Geek Out Gaijin, Geek Out Gaijin. Check out his unboxing videos and all sorts of stuff. Um, and I'm not sure if Sir JDM is still there. I'll just give a quick shout out uh, to this person right here, Shark9877 from YouTube. He's the person who kept me company when I was playing Xenoblade Chronicles X. Apparently, he's a huge fan of the game. He's trying to talk. He's trying to talk me through it, playing a lot more of it, and as much as I can, as much as I can tolerate. Okay, and unfortunately, Shark 9877. This would be probably the last time I'm going to touch Xenoblade Chronicles X. I only did it just for the show. Who knows? Maybe in the future if I have more free time. But I'm still in the middle of Lufia, and after I'm done with Lufia, I'm going back to Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I really need to play those games. So, and Xenoblade Chronicles X, good game, phenomenal game. Just time consuming that I don't have the luxury of spending that much time on it. Also, Sir Viraj already left. So, just a quick shout out to the Sega Mega Masters podcast, Sir Dan and Sir Viraj. Check out their channel on YouTube, Sega Mega Masters, talking about all of the goodness of the Sega Master System and the Sega Mega Drive, all good stuff. And on behalf of Sir Ray of Studio.ph and Miss Eileen of Enslin Porter Gaming, that's it for us. And Sir JDM right there. I'm not sure if he's still available. 1, 2, 3, go retro. That's the show, guys. Thank you all so much for staying for this long. And as always, our games in our bodies may grow out of date, but our gaming experiences will forever remain. Hey,
Timeless. All right. See you guys. Thanks
Thank
very
you,
much
guys.
for taking the show. See you next week. Bye.